forcibly twisted melon isn't sweet. Master has been forcibly twisted by me for a long time. Eventually, he entered a state of enjoyment. Now, for my sake, his Tao heart is flourishing. He is constantly looking forward to my next twist. Not long ago, countless strong individuals trapped me in the forbidden crying ground. Old Demon Chu, you have spent your life bullying men and dominating women, committing countless wrongdoings. Have you ever thought that today you would meet your end at the Soul Cliff? I've hunted you for 3 years. Now there's nowhere left for you to escape. I coldly scanned every person in the room with indifferent eyes. At this moment, a woman's voice echoed behind me. Old Demon Chu, you've now fallen to such a state. Regret is possible. I looked up and glanced at his pure, jade-like temperament. I wonder what it's like in bed. Then I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I, Chu Xiu, have only practiced for less than 100 years. My entire life has been spent in battle. Among my peers, except for myself. Who dares to claim invincibility? Who dares to refuse defeat? If there is one thing this seat regrets, it is that the time was too short. If I were given another 1,000 years, who in this world would dare not submit? Upon hearing my arrogant words, Qi Mengye's holy sword unsheaths. Since you refuse to repent, don't blame us for being merciless. In the next moment, powerful beings from all sides charged at me with weapons drawn. I quickly performed several spells in my hand. A sneer of disdain and contempt for these fools curled at my lips. Everyone could feel the turbulent magic within me, their hearts pounding with fear. Stop him quickly. This demon wants to use his trump card. I saw them summoning the manifestations of gods, Buddhas, immortals, and demons. 3 manifestations moved together. They unleashed the 3,000 great worlds. Time. I was forcefully interrupted in my spell by that terrifying power. A deep laugh escaped from my mouth. The laughter gradually turns into maddened, breaking the eternal question of immortality. The Emperor regrets, but I do not regret. I no longer hesitate, pointing to my own dantian. In the next moment, a massive explosion occurred centered around me. By the time the traces of the explosion disappear, everyone was still shaken by the horrifying scene just now. Old Man Chu actually self-destructed. The old man sighed involuntarily. If he had gone to the heavenly abyss wall to fight the barbarian demons, he would have been a formidable general for our human race. Afterwards, dozens of human strongmen left the leveled ruins. Somewhere in Taisu Holy Land. Taisu Holy Land has 18. A red light shot into the depths of Yinxia Peak. The young man lying on the bed opened his eyes. I, Chu Laoma, am back. Right, I, Chu Xiu, was a novel reader even before my transmigration. For this day, I've prepared tens of thousands of backup plans. I even have over 1,000 resurrection methods. I quickly adapted to this body and got out of bed. I quickly realized that the place I was in was the Taizu's sacred land. Soon, a system prompt appeared. Because I had been resurrected, the system gave me 2 choices this time. One was to continue doing evil and earn system rewards like in my previous life. And the other was to choose the cautious path, to stay low and quietly develop. But I have already learned from the lessons of my previous life. So this time, I plan to become strong enough before I become my old devil self. So, I decisively chose the survival cultivation system. Then, I skillfully opened the information panel to check my current status. What left me speechless was the fortune value. Although the person I transmigrated into this time, the breakthrough point is his status as a direct disciple. His combined aptitude and luck are terrifyingly dark. Those lofty ambitions in my mind just vanished into thin air. After reviewing the original owner's memories, I discovered that 10 days ago, the original owner got into a life-or-death duel over a woman. Naturally, he was defeated in one move. His cultivation was ruined, and he was thrown out like a dead dog. I only have one evaluation in my heart. It's truly tragic. But soon, I pulled myself together again. Considering you gave your body to me, I avenged you. But after cultivating for a whole half hour, I was astonished to find that my spiritual energy hadn't changed at all. Since normal cultivation doesn't work, I'll have to resort to unorthodox methods. Within Jade Mist Peak, news of my defeat became a hot topic among the disciples. They unscrupulously belittled me, making my temples throb as I listened from the sidelines. You wouldn't believe it. That demon you speak of is now your senior brother. I cleared my throat lightly and walked out from behind the tree. They respectfully bowed to me. Then they asked how my injury was. I waved my hand to tell them I was fine. Then I walked past them as if nothing had happened. Only then did they remember. My name seemed to be the same as that of old Demon Chu. Immediately after, they started mocking me about what happened 10 days ago. I was oblivious to their mockery. Instead, I swaggered to Master Qi Mengye's cave dwelling. Thus, I entered the great hall without hindrance. Upon seeing me, Qi Mengdai asked if I had come to ask her to repair my spiritual veins. I knelt on one knee, bowing my head as she had said. Qi Mengdai remained unmoved. You mocked me for having low cultivation but being naturally aggressive. I deserve it, don't I? I coldly questioned him. My cultivation is low. Don't you know the reason? Isn't it because you gave all the cultivation resources to the junior disciples? How can I get stronger without resources? Chi Mengdai slammed the table angrily. She seethed with embarrassment and fury. It's all because you're incompetent, and refuse to put in the effort to cultivate. Now you're turning around and blaming me. I sneered. Isn't it just because I share the same name as old Demon Chu, that you're taking your anger out on me? Chi Mengdia's eyes flashed with killing intent, her thoughts hit. But she still relaxed, waiting for me to find heaven-grade treasures to treat my injuries. I smiled and sized him up. I want you to help me now. It is said that Master, your heavenly fragrance body, if I could cultivate with you, disciple would not only be able to repair all my injuries, it can also improve cultivation qualifications. Chi Mengdia's voice was icy cold. Let me say it again, to make sure he hears me. I deliberately leaned close to his ear. I mean, Master, please cultivate with me. Chi Mengdai was so angry that she could hardly stand. Then, I summoned the Sword of Destiny. How dare you insult me? Today, I will make my position clear. I raised my finger and recited a spell. The next moment, the sword he was so proud of instantly shattered. Suddenly, his legs started to tremble. Then, his entire body went limp and he collapsed to the ground. Chi Mengdai made a surprising discovery, that despite her great sage cultivation, she couldn't use any of her powers. I walked up to her smiling. Master, please. Chi Mengdai still refused to give in. If you dare to touch me, I'll kill you. I ignored her words and reached out my hand. I had only spent one night with my master. My cultivation directly jumped from the first level of Qi refining to the 9th level of foundation establishment. So I decided right then and there, that from now on, I would visit my master every night. Just now, I used a restriction left from my past life to turn Chi Mengdai into a mere mortal. Didn't you say I was useless? Well, let's see how pathetic you are after becoming a mortal. Chi Mengdai still doesn't know what happened. She questions me about what I did to her. I walk up to her, leering as I size her up. Of course, I turned you into an ordinary person. Then I grab her face. That day, when you and your group of over 10 people were chasing me, I secretly used the reincarnation cry of heaven, mother and child seal on you. This thing is a divine level item the system gave me. Don't say it's a great sage realm. Even if it's an emperor, so what? And my so frivolous action instantly ignited Chi Mengdia's anger. You really aren't afraid I'll kill you? I found it somewhat amusing. Then do it. Don't just keep threatening me with words. Then I whispered in his ear. What do you think would happen if I told your enemy, Lu Shui, about the loss of your cultivation? What do you think he would do? Upon hearing that name, Chi Mengdia's eyes dimmed with despair. That mad woman would definitely kill me. So, he turned and agreed to my request. You can find any rare treasure you want for me. The only condition is that you release him. I threw him to the ground. That's not what I want. He immediately understood what I meant. He shouted, no. I, a mighty great sage, would never submit to someone like you, an ant. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. In my past life, I had no grudges with you, yet you took part in hunting me down. It's time for you to pay the price. I conjured a martial technique out of thin air. Master, this book contains a method for dual cultivation. It will benefit you as well. Do you want to take a look? Chi Mengdai subconsciously glanced. But with that one glance, she could no longer look away. If I were cultivating a certain technique, perhaps I really could. Under my persistent coercion and enticement, Chi Mengdai gave up resisting. Very quickly, the system beeped. The host actually managed to outsmart his own master. Truly worthy of being the villain I chose, rewarding 1,000 breakthrough points. As the system's prompts continued to sound, my aptitude and cultivation base soared wildly. Skipping the Qi condensation stage, I directly broke through to the foundation establishment stage. After a full 8 hours, my cultivation has reached the 9th level of foundation establishment. I looked at Chi Mengdai with a playful smile. Thank you, Master. Chi Mengdai shouted, disobedient disciple, in embarrassment and anger. You've already gotten what you wanted. Now, can you unseal me? I looked at her with a beaming smile. Of course not. Don't have any useless thoughts. If you don't want others to know your cultivation is sealed, then hide it well. Saying this, I took out another recording crystal. You were so enthusiastic just now. I specifically recorded it. Do you want to see it? Chi Mengdai was greatly shocked. You actually took a photo. I quickly waved my hand to tell him not to be so excited. I just wanted to remind you not to act impulsively. Across the entire continent, only I can break your seal. If I die, you'll be stuck as a mortal for the rest of your life. If you don't believe me, you can also find someone to try. But those images might be spread around. The whole continent will know your name. Watching my figure gradually fade into the distance. You traitor. You won't have a good death. I don't believe that. You're nothing but an ant, not even at the Tao Palace realm. How could there be a seal that holds my power? I looked at the moon hanging high in the sky. So much time has passed already. I'm at the Foundation Establishment 9th layer now. Breaking through to the We'll See realm will have to wait until next time. If we compare the We'll See realm to a wooden bucket, then Foundation Establishment is the process of accumulating wood. The steadier the foundation, the wheel of life I create will become larger and more solid. The path of cultivation will also extend further. In my past life, it was because my foundation was unstable, that my later foundation became problematic. This time, I will definitely learn from the lessons of my past life. I just don't know if the foundation resources I left behind in the hidden gorge are still there. I was just thinking about how to get there, when I found myself somehow at the flying boat rental place. It really was a stroke of luck. Then I boarded a flying boat that suited my style and headed for the hidden valley. Soon I arrived at a deserted place. It looked like no one had ever been here before. I immediately bit my finger and drew a formation on the stone. The next moment, the giant stone moved on its own, revealing the treasure that had been hidden inside. Just as I was about to reach for the chest, a sudden, untimely voice came from behind me. "Chew, useless trash. I didn't expect to run into you again. I only spent one night, and I broke through to the Foundation Establishment stage, and it's the unprecedented 10th level. Not long ago, I was just an ordinary person with a wasted cultivation. To change my fate, I found the treasure left behind by my past life. Just then, an untimely person appeared behind me. Isn't it Chew, the good-for-nothing? I didn't expect that after 10 days, you'd be skipping around again. It seems the Cloud Mist Peak Master is quite fond of you, his top disciple. He actually dares to give you, a useless person, heaven-grade treasures to repair your sea of chi." I looked up. It was Zhang Meng, who destroyed the original owner's foundation 10 days ago. I stepped onto the flying ship. My back was turned to him. I didn't even spare him a glance. 10 days later, the life and death arena. We'll fight again. Zhang Meng exaggeratedly perked up his ears. What did that kid say? I didn't hear that wrong, did I? The two lackeys nearby were laughing uncontrollably. This useless guy actually dares to challenge senior brother Zhang. He even said he wants to settle it with senior brother in a life or death match. Zhang Meng raised his arms. He used his sound transmission technique. "Chew, you useless fool. 10 days ago, I spared your life out of respect for Yunxia Peak Master. I didn't kill you then. Since you're so eager to die, let's settle this on the life and death arena in 10 days. This agreement spread throughout Taisu Holy Land in an instant. That guy's now a cripple. He actually dares to cause trouble for Zhang Meng. On the other hand, by now, I had returned to Yunxia Peak by flying boat. I strode to Chimengye's cave dwelling. The spiritual energy here is abundant. Then I'll cultivate here tonight. I struck a very handsome pose. Exclamation of greeting/admiration. "Master, I've come to see you again." Chimengye's voice trembled from the cloud platform. "Why are you here again? Why are you coming so late? What do you want to do?" I walked up to his bed. "What do you think I could do?" Chimengye said coldly to me. "Don't go too far." I quickly lifted his chin. "I have something even more outrageous." Then I pulled out a talisman. With a sweep of my hand, I threw it. The next moment, the red talisman burst through Chimengye's cave, instantly engulfing the entire Yunxia Peak. Chimengye's eyes widened in surprise. Could this be the ancient Array Dao? I only praised him for his good eyesight. "Do you want to learn?" Chimengye arrogantly turned her head away. "No way." I hummed twice. "Then I'll go into seclusion." Before leaving, I took out an apple. I almost forgot that Master is now in a mortal body. "You still need to eat something." Seeing that he didn't respond, I stepped forward and slapped his butt. "I'll inform the Master in advance. Disciple doesn't like spoiled attitudes. By the way, just a reminder, I've set up a killing formation in the rear hall. You'd better not break in easily. If you accidentally trespass and die because of it, your disciple, will be heartbroken." After saying that, I ignored the angry shouts behind me and slowly walked towards the back hall. Arriving at the back hall, I took out the contents of the treasure chest. In exchange for a life-creating flower nest, all for laying a foundation of unparalleled strength for a truly beloved descendant. Exchanging for the enhancement of vitality and lifespan, I laid an incredibly strong foundation for my junior disciples. A foundation that, after 10,000 years, only bears 3 fruits. Then I opened this book, which is referred to as the strongest foundation building method in the Tao scriptures. With these 2 divine level items, combined, along with the system's assistance, looking across the entire continent, could there be any cultivator with a stronger foundation than mine? Then I grabbed the fruit of creation, and took a bite. Immediately after, I felt a burst of intense energy merge into my limbs and bones. Then, I began to circulate my Tao Sutra. My cultivation, originally at the 9th layer of foundation building, started to decline rapidly, until it became that of a mortal. Host's cultivation will drop to the third layer of foundation building. The moment I became immortal, I suddenly opened my eyes wide. It's time to begin. I looked at the system. Without hesitation, I chose to break through. A new prompt appeared. Detecting the host's cultivation of the strongest foundation building technique. Breakthrough point consumption increased. It's estimated to be a small celestial cycle per month. 100 breakthrough points are consumed per month. After consuming 900 breakthrough points, my cultivation returned to the 9th level of foundation establishment. I suddenly opened my eyes. An inexplicable pressure manifested on me. People say that 9 is the ultimate number. One can only follow in the footsteps of those who came before. Little do they know, breaking the limits is the true path to success, a blessing in disguise. Who can say it's not fortune? Fall, and then rise. Between life and death lies great terror, but also great opportunity. 7 days later, I opened my eyes again. At this moment, my breath had become even more powerful than before. The system's voice appeared once again. Breakthrough complete. Congratulations, host, for breaking through to the 10th level of foundation establishment. It took 10 months. The breakthrough consumed 1,000 breakthrough points. I had only just broken through to the unprecedented 10th level of foundation establishment. It caused a tremor in heaven and earth. The strange phenomenon continued. This also caught the attention of Lu Shui from Heaven's Sword Peak. Such a powerful spiritual energy tide. Could it be that vile Qi Meng Dai is about to break through? At the same time, I can feel that I seem to have reached the limit of my physical body, but I'm not satisfied with this. I'll circulate the Tao scripture again. Today, I will break through the Guiju realm with my foundation establishment peak cultivation. The next moment, I floated into the air. Breaking through to the Wheel C realm from foundation establishment 10th level. Hearing the system's voice, I was also a little surprised. It triggered the system mechanism so easily. Suddenly, I sprang up, and threw a punch downward with just my physical strength. With a loud rumble, the system reward was also delivered at that moment. Congratulations, host, you have obtained the primordial saint body. But hearing this reward, I felt no excitement at all. Instead, I should quickly stop the system. I'll go. I don't want this reward at all. But all that awaits me is the notification sound of a successful fusion. I covered my head, feeling a little irritable. My cultivation, having broken through the limit, already requires the consumption of massive resources. Now, add to that the primordial sacred body. How the hell am I supposed to continue playing? The system kindly explained to me the advantages of the primal body, which is the strongest warrior body of the human race. Its only drawback is that it consumes a lot of resources. Even with a sacred land, it's hard to achieve even a minor success. In short, it's just useless sacred body. But to soothe my emotions, the system went crazy in my ear, giving me all sorts of ideas. I glanced at the system disdainfully. I'm tired of that pie in the sky routine. I opened my own attributes. My aptitude had changed to heaven grade. My chi is still the same. My overall combat power is 9 times that of others at the same level. I chanted the dust-removing incantation to cleanse my body. At the same time, I accepted this fact in my heart. Luckily, I have a master with a heavenly fragrance sacred body treasure. I can only let him suffer a little. Thinking of this, I hummed a little tune and walked towards the front hall. Qi Mengdai hasn't realized the impending crisis yet. She munches on a bright red apple. Is it delicious? Qi Mengdai subconsciously said, delicious. Then her eyes flashed with ferocity. It's you disloyal disciple, what do you want from me again? I came up behind him. It's been a few days, it feels like 3 autumns. Of course, it's because I miss you, master. As I said that, I lowered my head and sighed on him. Master, you haven't bathed in days. He looked at me with a bit of embarrassment and annoyance. Isn't it because you took over the back hall? I want to bathe, but there's no place to do it. I took Chimengye's small hand. Then, let this disciple punish you by bathing you. After saying that, I grabbed him and walked towards the back hall. Arriving at the back hall, I threw him onto the bed. A heavenly fragrance body, truly as rumored. Several days without bathing, and yet still spotless. Fair skin and jade-like bones. I grabbed the back of his hand and kissed it. It's all because my disciple's talent is too poor. Then I'll serve you well, master. Qi Mengdai knew that resistance was futile. She cursed the rebellious disciple and turned her head. At that moment, there was a disturbance outside the hall. The sect leader of Tianqing Peak was waiting outside the cave dwelling. Dream Butterfly Junior Sister, Has she left seclusion? Senior brother Tianqing, please forgive me. I encountered a mishap during my cultivation. I won't be able to meet with you today. After a round of passion, I looked at the system. This time's reward is a mysterious weapon, the sword of the bloodied blade. Tianqing is still waiting outside the door, not leaving. He even took out a bottle of level 7 healing pills. Qi Mengdai answered with a trembling voice. No need. A few days of rest will be enough. Tianqing replied, somewhat disappointed. I wonder if you've heard, junior sister, that your disciple, Chu Xiu, about the life or death broadcast duel with Zhang Meng. If he loses again this time, I fear it will damage Yinsha Peak's reputation. I know about this, but I can't control that rebellious disciple. Let him be. Tian Xing takes out a green flute. I've worried too much, brother. Then, let me play a tune to apologize to my junior sister. Inside the room, I have finished the battle. Gently stroking master's hair, Qi Mengdai bit her teeth in humiliation. Just now, I was talking to senior brother Tianxia. While seeing his appearance, I couldn't help but laugh. Master, considering how hard I just worked, wouldn't it be reasonable to give me some more cultivation resources? The host is truly the most pathetic man I've ever seen. He actually plans to have his cake and eat it too, getting both pleasure and resources. Therefore, I reward you with 500 breakthrough points. Qi Mengdai never expected that. His so-called little schemes were nothing but a game I had planned. Not long ago, after finishing dual cultivation with my master, I also took the opportunity to ask him for some cultivation resources. However, what I received were mostly ordinary pills of the 4th and 5th rank. Qi Mengdai glared at me with hatred. If you were to undo all of my cultivation, I could definitely offer you top-tier heavenly and earthly treasures. I completely ignored his request, and grabbed the elixir and spirit stones before turning to leave. A perfect example of a scumbag. After I left, Qi Mengdai couldn't help but consider asking the Saint Lord for help, but soon, he rejected this idea. If even the Saint Lord can't break my seal, and if that traitor discovers it, won't I be stuck as a mortal for the rest of my life? Then, Qi Mengdai took a fox demon mask from her chest. Fortunately, that guy didn't find this bronze fox mask. Although I can't recover my cultivation for now, wearing it will hide my aura as a cultivator. As long as I don't contact anyone, the fact that my cultivation is sealed will remain safe. Speaking of which, this was dropped during the pursuit and killing of old Devil Chu. In 100 years, he could be called a superior. He was truly a genius. It's just a pity he cultivated the demonic path. Then Qi Mengdai put on the mask. I hope I can get rid of that rebellious disciple's restriction soon. Little did you know, the moment Qi Mengdai put on the mask, I had already noticed. But at least she finally put it on. All my efforts weren't in vain. If you hadn't hidden yourself so well, how could I have been at ease cultivating in the Taizu Holy Land? Then I took out the blood-edged sword I obtained while cultivating with my master. 3 days until the next life and death arena. Although the quality is a bit lacking, it's still better than nothing. 2.5 seconds later, a red shadow shot out from my body. The system's voice followed. Congratulations, host, for comprehending the intent. Begin seeking the intent. After that, I controlled my spirit body to fly upward. I continued until I reached about 9,990 meters. The surroundings suddenly changed. I looked at the red light pillar in front of me. Is this the sword intent? So I decisively chose to comprehend the sword intent. A divine thought shot from the red light pillar towards my forehead. When I opened my eyes again, there was a red mark on my forehead. Congratulations, host, on successfully finding the intent. You have obtained the Heavenly Slaughter Sword Intent, one of the 5 primordial sword intents. I nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. This sword intent is worthy of me. Now, I shall fly my sword back to my cave dwelling. Next, I just need to use the system to break through the sword intent. Then victory in the life and death arena will be certain. Meanwhile, on Mount Taisu, my actions in seeking sword intent attracted the attention of the saint, Taisuzi. Upon seeing that I had actually reached 9,999 meters, Taisuzi couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Only because for 30,000 years, the only one who has ever reached such a realm is the quasi-emperor sword god of the endless sword domain. Soon, the day of the life or death battle arrives. At this time, the martial arts arena is already filled with cultivators watching the excitement. Jianling Yun yawns and strolls over leisurely. It's quite lively. The person beside him stood with arms crossed. I heard senior brother broke through to the divine ability realm. Congratulations. Jianling Yun's expression was indifferent. It's merely the divine ability realm. What's there to be proud of? Then he looked at Su with some surprise. Su Tianjin, fellow true disciple of Tianjin Peak. I thought you wouldn't come to such a boring place. This matter started because of me. Of course I had to come. Besides, I don't want Chu Xiu to die here. After hearing this, Jianling Yun's expression turned incredibly grim. What is so good about that trash? How could he be favored by junior sister? A disciple on the side immediately mocked. With Chu Xiu's weak skills, he'll probably be killed in an instant as soon as he steps onto the stage. That is to say, I don't understand how the people of Yinxia Peak can tolerate such a useless person as their senior brother. The woman in the pink dress stepped forward, lifting others up while stepping on others down. Is this the teaching of your peak master? At this moment, someone in the crowd recognized his identity. The fifth senior sister of Yinxia Peak, Tao Tian. Suddenly, a voice emerged from the crowd. It's Chu Xiu. Chu Xiu is here. I swept over everyone present from a high vantage point. Seeing this, Tao Tian immediately ran over, sweetly calling out, Senior brother, don't be afraid. Junior sister is here. No one will hurt you. I patted his head. I know what I'm doing. You won't get hurt. But he still looked concerned, as if he were afraid something might happen to me. I gently reassured him, and turned my head to the side. Is that the woman the original owner liked? She really is quite beautiful, though her cultivation is a bit lacking. Su Tian muttered to himself. Why does it feel like Chu Xiu has become a completely different person? Zhang Meng approached Jian Lingyun. Tao Tian is here. Should I still make my move later? Jian Lingyun's eyes showed killing intent. Of course. And kill him mercilessly. Permission granted. Zhang Meng stepped onto the stage first. Since you're here, come over and die quickly. I'm in a hurry to cultivate. I let out a light laugh and told him to wait. I still have something to say. Every time I duel with someone, I always set up a temporary casino as a bookmaker. I let those who want to see me make a fool of myself. The idiot's origin stones were completely swept up, and my atrocious behavior was actually praised by the system. I was rewarded with 300 breakthrough points. When Jian Lingyun saw the treasure I took out, he immediately became interested. He asked how I wanted to bet. I stroked my chin and snorted twice. Perhaps you all don't know the value of 6th 7th grade top-tier heavenly profound pills. Then he looked at the Jianqing Peak elder with a dumbfounded expression. You should understand their value, right? To save face, the elder immediately stepped forward to explain that one pill is worth 1 million high-grade spirit stones. 6 pills equal 6 million high-grade spirit stones. Hearing the elder's words, a deep inhalation sounded throughout the room. I smiled and looked at everyone. Don't be so nervous. If one person can't come up with it, everyone can chip in. In the end, we'll divide the profits proportionally. Upon hearing this, everyone was extremely delighted. This is basically free spirit stones. They all started taking out their savings. I bet on Chu Xiu to lose. Me too, me too. I couldn't help but chuckle at them. What a bunch of naive fools. Then I said to everyone, this bet is guaranteed by Elder Tian Xiefeng. No one dares to back out. After saying that, I jumped straight onto the platform. Zhang Meng looked at me disdainfully. So you finally showed up. I thought you wouldn't dare come up. I sneered coldly. Why wouldn't I? Chi, this is a fight to the death between you and me. In the next moment, a golden energy shield enveloped the entire arena. Jian Lingyun confidently looked toward the arena. The show is about to begin. Zhang Meng sneered. I am already at the peak of the 9th layer of the Wheel C. Beating you, a useless 4th layer Will C cultivator, is more than enough. Immediately, he pushed off the ground with force. He charged at me like a flash of lightning. He aimed a horizontal kick at my head. I leaned back. I easily dodged his attack. I lightly and nimbly hopped back a few steps. In a flash, I had created distance between us. Zhang Meng looked surprised, but he couldn't stop sneering. In an instant, a bolt of lightning appeared in his hand. So, can you dodge this move? The next moment, 3 bolts of thunder energy took the form of nails and shot toward me. However, the speed seemed slow motion to my eyes. I arched backward and jumped away. The crowd below erupted in mockery. Is this all he can do? Just dodge. Does he think he can beat senior brother Zhang like this? Then, Zhang Meng charged at me again. He started throwing punches at me repeatedly. But I easily dodged every one. I even had time to make a face at him. So stupid. Is this all your strength? Zhang Meng was so angry that his whole body trembled. How did this guy's movement become so good? He then drew out the large knife behind him. I don't believe you can block this. The next moment, his aura grew even stronger. As his sword energy surged, a purple-black mist enveloped the surroundings. I instantly understood his intentions. He wanted to seal my movements with sword chi. Thinking of this, I drew out the azure blood sword. It was a perfect opportunity to test my new weapon. Then I turned and swung a sword behind me. I completely exposed my back. Zhang Meng sneered incessantly. This good-for-nothing finally revealed his flaw. He appeared behind me in a flash. He used all his strength to kick me. Instead of anger, I laughed. Finally, he took the bait. Immediately, I gripped the sharp sword in my hand. I swung the sword at Zhang Meng behind me. Zhang Meng stared blankly at the flash of blood across his chest. Then, with a thud, he fell to the ground. A deathly silence fell over the audience. Killing intent flashed in Jian Lingyun's eyes. Damn it. I clearly have the strength to kill my enemy with one blow, but after victory, I coughed up blood, making it seem like I could die at any moment. Tao Tian quickly ran to me. She anxiously inquired about my injuries. I told her I was fine. She helped me to the true transmission seats, in a place where they couldn't see. I let out a sinister smile. I'm sorry. All these natural treasures and spirit stones are mine now. As he passed Jian Lingyun, he keenly noticed my almost wilting aura. He immediately instructed a younger brother beside him. Shen Linfei, you're up next. Shen Linfei suddenly stopped me as I was about to leave, addressing me with a condescending attitude. Aunt, do you dare to fight me? Tao Tian is blocking me. Can't you see that senior brother Chu is severely injured? What does it mean to fight now? Jian Lingyun stepped forward and said, since we've come to the life and death arena, there's no avoiding a challenge. Just now, Chu Xiu won so many resources. I'm sure everyone is still unconvinced. As long as Chu Xiu wins one match, I'm sure everyone will be convinced. This is better for everyone. After saying that, he glanced at me provocatively, trying to anger me with words and make me accept the challenge. I spat out a few more mouthfuls of old blood. I could, but, you'll have to pay more. The system is shocked by my shamelessness. Host, you weren't injured at all. This is definitely a scoundrel's move. You are awarded 200 points as a result. Jian Lingyun responded. What an idiot. Knowing it's a trap, I still fell for it. Su Tian helplessly rubbed his temples, seemingly regretting my impulsive decision. But I acted as if nothing happened and yelled again. Let's gamble. Turn a bicycle into a motorcycle. Let's try our luck. Turn a wild chicken into a phoenix. Hearing my response, those fools emptied their pockets and bet everything on my certain loss. I am not angry about this at all. In fact, I hope they shout even louder. As the elder's voice rang out, I returned to the podium. Down below, Tao Tian couldn't help but express his concern. You have to be okay. I gave him a reassuring look in response. Shen Linfei whispered to me. Actually, I didn't want to take action, but I also have my reasons. My junior sister is seriously injured. She needs a very important herb. Only senior brother Lingyun has it. For the sake of my junior sister, I have no choice but to fight for Lingyun. Wait, you'll die. Don't blame me. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. What a touching story. But what does it have to do with me? The next moment, I appeared behind him like a ghost. Shen Linfei hurriedly blocked the strike. Then he yelled at me. Kid, you dare to ambush me. But look, I reappeared behind him. I pierced his heart with a sword. Then, I gathered a fireball in my right hand. With a bang, I slammed it onto his back. Shen Linfei crashed into the golden energy shield, and his life force dissipated at that moment. He had lost any chance of being saved. At this moment, I finally spoke up. I've always understood the reason why villains die from talking too much. That's why I usually avoid unnecessary chatter. The man was originally the most looked down upon waste in the whole sect, yet he killed 2 top talents. He emptied the entire Taizu Sacred Land disciples' wallets. At this moment, everyone was staring blankly at the arena. How is Chu Xiu so strong? He's only at the 4th level of Will C. How could he defeat a peak Will C genius? After the shock, everyone started to cry and wail loudly. What do we do? I even lost my pants. Tao Tian quickly ran to my side. He praised me with immense admiration. I pushed him away. I quickly walked to those glittering treasures, and put them into my storage pouch. Suddenly, I turned to my junior sister. Do you have any extra storage pouches? My storage pouch is full. Tao Tian shyly tossed over a pink storage pouch. Take it, senior brother. No need to be polite with me. After packing everything up, I took out the pill from earlier. I still wanted to give this away, but unfortunately, there was no chance. This scene caused the disciples to erupt in an instant. If I couldn't beat you, I would have made you look for your teeth all over the ground. I snapped my fingers lightly. Is there no one to challenge? If not, then I'll be leaving. After saying that, I strode towards the flying ship. The system kept chiming non-stop. Host, you're really awful. You truly are a born villain. Here's a reward of 200 breakthrough points. Tao Tian, concerned, said to me. That Jian Lingyun is very scheming. You've offended him. You must be careful in the future. I nodded. But these small fries aren't worth a second glance. After that, I returned to my cave dwelling. I took out the treasure I had obtained. A rough count revealed 16 million spirit stones. I picked up a longsword that looked fairly decent. Then I threw it into the system and clicked exchange. But the result was only worth a single breakthrough point. The system patiently explained to me, information. The exchange rate for breakthrough points will fluctuate depending on the desire to rely on low-grade, accumulated breakthrough points. Also, a friendly reminder. Primal stones cannot be directly exchanged for breakthrough points. I stroked my chin, pondering. For now, I can only exchange these treasures. It has been exchanged for a high-level magical item. Suddenly, I felt a familiar sensation in my heart. It was the fluctuation of the bronze fox mask. Who is Master talking to? At the same time, on Taizu Peak, the Holy Lord successfully guided me in comprehending the initial sword. He informed Qi Mengdai about what had happened. He even added in particular, that he had seen it with his own eyes. It couldn't be wrong. Then he began to ask Qi Mengdai about some things concerning me. Qi Mengdai was somewhat surprised. Are you suspecting that he's been possessed? The Holy Lord nodded. Then, he continued to deny this idea. Anyone capable of leaving their primordial spirit to seize a body must at least be at the minor saint level. If one reaches the minor saint realm, they would inevitably have their own will. The place of origin can only be entered once in a lifetime. Even those who seize bodies cannot defy this rule. So, Chu Xiu may not have been possessed. I suspect he gained some kind of extraordinary opportunity. Meng Dai, you need to properly cultivate this disciple. In the future, our Taizu Holy Land may very well have another sword god. Qi Mengdai couldn't help but think, cultivate my ass. I've become nothing more than an experience pack for that rebellious disciple's cultivation. Hearing their conversation, I couldn't help but laugh. My dear master, the saint has spoken. Then you'll have to help me cultivate even more enthusiastically. After that, I've arrived at Chimengye's cave dwelling. Master, your disciple has come again to ask you about cultivation matters. But his first words were a question for me. Why did you hide this from me? I asked him what he had hidden. Of course, it was the matter of you finding the initial sword intent. I pulled him into my embrace. So, how much do you know? He reminded me. The Holy Lord is a Saint King Realm Overlord, mastering the laws of space. He discovered the fluctuations in your intent. So the Holy Lord plans to cultivate me with all his strength? Qi Mengdai avoided eye contact. There are no free resources in the Taisu Holy Land. Even if you were a reborn ancient emperor, you still have to fight for it yourself. I nodded in agreement. Then I lifted his chin. So, aren't I here to ask you for resources by my own efforts? I only need to cultivate with my master to improve my aptitude. It only took 3 hours. My mediocre spiritual root just transformed into a top-grade one. Just now, I went to Chimengye's cave and again requested dual cultivation. Seeing his reluctance, I felt a surge of blood rush through me. Ignoring his resistance, I pounced on him. Because of my forceful actions, the system rewarded me with a bottle of 6th-grade crane wing poison. 3 hours later, I skillfully tidied my clothes. My qualifications have reached the heavenly level. However, I also discovered that the improvement dual cultivation brings me is getting smaller and smaller. Could it be because of the sealed cultivation? Suddenly, I had the idea of unsealing him. But soon I rejected the idea myself. Who knows what will happen after the seal is broken? So I stood up and bowed to him. The matter is settled. Disciple should leave now. Under the mask, Qi Mengdai gritted her teeth. One day, I will tear you into 1,000 pieces. After leaving Chimengye's cave, I arrived at Treasure Pavilion immediately. The guards outside started whispering when they saw me. He's Chu Xiu, the senior brother from Yinxia Peak. I heard he won 2 matches in a row on the life and death stage today. At this moment, a graceful figure seemed to have been waiting for me for a while. Chu Xiaoran, an inner disciple of Treasure Pavilion, greets senior brother Chu Xiu. He saw through my purpose in coming here. You want to sell those treasures you won from betting, right? I smiled and looked at him. Junior sister, have you learned mind reading? Chu Xiaoran chuckled. Today, senior brother truly shone. You won so many treasures. Now that you're here, your purpose is unclear. After saying that, he stepped aside and let me in. I looked at his back. I couldn't help but feel suspicious. I had just arrived, yet he was already waiting here early. What was his intention in approaching me so deliberately? I didn't say much. Instead, I started to wander around. My actions also left Chu Xiaoran puzzled. He hasn't said a word since he came in. I don't even know what he's thinking of writing. I look at the spiritual herb in my hand, and think about the most cost-effective way to exchange it for breakthrough points. In the end, I reach a conclusion. The number of breakthrough points is directly proportional to the energy contained in it. If I throw those cultivators into the system, will it cause the breakthrough points to explode? The system expressed agreement with my thoughts. In terms of cruelty, host, you're truly a genius. But I'm sorry, this idea can't be implemented. At the same time, to encourage my creativity, I was rewarded with a Class D flying boat. Chu Xiaoran was shocked. I just saw a flash of red light in his eyes. I turned to look at him. Prepare pills worth 15 million spirit stones for me. Chu Xiaoran was shocked again. Is he planning to bathe in those pills? After a brief shock, he immediately agreed. After he left, I started looking around again. There is still 1 million yuan of stones left to be spent. This is such a hassle. Suddenly, the cabinet in the corner caught my attention. It was an unremarkable piece of bronze scrap. It somehow resonated with my sword intent. As I was fiddling with it, Chu Xiaoran walked in. She said we could inspect the goods now. I asked him how much this bronze piece costs. He smiled and generously gave it to me. I tossed a bag of yuan stones to him. I don't like owing favors. This bag of yuan stones is enough to buy it. After saying that, I walked away briskly, leaving him in surprise. Chu Xiaoran chased after me. He said he needed my help with something. The look of disappointment on his face made me realize my guess was correct. After that, he and I returned to the cave. I was the first to break the silence. If it's too troublesome, you don't have to say anything. Chu Xiaoran spoke up. Senior brother, do you know of the Taisu Divine Pagoda? I nodded, signaling him to continue. The Taisu Divine Pagoda was the Emperor Taisu's life-bound imperial artifact. It's both offensive and defensive. Its interior contains myriad wonders. After the Emperor's passing, he placed it on Taisu Peak. It's not only the Taisu Holy Land's protective treasure, but also the best training ground for disciples like us. The trials of the Divine Tower test the disciples' combat strength, talent, comprehension, will, and heart. The higher the floor you reach, the more benefits you gain. The request I want to make to senior brother is related to him. 1 month from now, the Wilderness Demon Secret Realm will open. If you want to enter the Wilderness Demon Secret Realm, you must ascend the Tai Su Divine Tower. You have to participate in the Tower Trial. During the trial, disciples in the Wheel C Realm ranked in the top 300, and disciples in the Divine Bridge Realm ranked in the top 1700, can earn the qualification to enter the Secret Realm. Senior brother Chu Xiao has few rivals of the same rank, so I would like to ask a favor of you, senior brother. Then he whispered a few words in my ear. After listening, I raised my eyelids in surprise. The realm that others spend decades of hard cultivation to break through, I had already broken through 9 times in just a breath. But I was not satisfied with this. I asked the system about the conditions to break through to the 10th level of the Wheel C. Soon, the system provided an answer. 1 Yao Lingru, Bodhi Divine Flower, and Soul Infant Demon Fruit. However, after hearing about these materials, I felt incredibly distressed. Because each item mentioned is something extremely rare and difficult to obtain. But soon, I suddenly remembered Chu Xiaoran saying that many years ago, a disciple had brought out half a rotten soul infant demon fruit from the secret manual of the wasteland demons. If this is true, then I must go to the Taisu Divine Pagoda. 3 days later, countless flying boats streaked across the sky above Taisu Peak. The prodigies of Taisu Holy Land gathered here. Su Rushue, immortal descendant, ascended to the 78th floor, ranked 7th on the Wheel C monument. Outside the tower, Mo Fian asked Elder Huang, "Who here do you think is the most promising?" The old man answered without hesitation, "Yi Fan. I believe this boy has exceptional talent and foundation." Mo Fian, what do you think of Elder Huang's assessment? Then I'll wait and see with anticipation. On the other hand, a blood-red flying boat flashed past, causing quite a stir. Mo Fei Yen looked over curiously. Who is this person? How can they move so fast? That person is the eldest direct disciple of Yinxia Peak. After parking the flying boat, I jumped down from above, but soon, the rising figure nearby caught my attention. This person is Su Rushue, who just reached the 7th place on the Wheel C ranking. At this time, a bold voice came from the crowd. I also want to reach the top 10. Let the Taisu Pagoda ring its evening bells. I was a little puzzled. I asked the person's name. Yi Fan immediately recognized my identity. He clasped his fists in a salute to me. I also learned that his name is Yi Fan. I looked at the overwhelming fate behind Yi Fan, and his name, which was typical of a protagonist. I knew this guy was undoubtedly the protagonist. Soon, we started chatting with each other. My cheerful demeanor also won Yi Fan's favor, making him think about becoming friends with me. Little did you know, I thought the same, but my simple goal was to drain his luck. At this time, my name appeared on the stele. I bowed to Yi Fan. It's my turn to be tested. Farewell, until we meet again. After saying that, I ascended the steps of the Taisu Tower. As the doors slowly closed, several pairs of crimson eyes appeared in the dark cave ahead. Howls echoed from within. The howls of wolves came from inside. However, despite their ferocious appearance, I was incredibly disappointed. Just a few wonkai. The next moment, those demonic wolves lunged at me. I lightly stepped on the ground. Several blood-red slashes cut across their bodies. If the trials of the entire tower were this boring, it would be far too uninteresting. In a short while, I had already appeared on the 67th floor. A beautiful woman appeared beside me, constantly stroking my face. I showed no mercy and struck him down with one blow. I, Chu Xiao, have seen countless women in my life. You're just too ugly. And on the 68th floor, 4 flames of different colors were burning at the center of the arena. They were unmistakably the 4 powerful figures representing the 4 divine beasts. Upon seeing this, I finally felt a bit of interest, but it only took me 1 more second. Soon, I arrived at the 98th floor, but there was only one figure there. It was Taisuzi, also at the peak of the 9th level of the Wheel C. However, to my surprise, I couldn't see through his cultivation. Could you be the Taisu Emperor? Taisuzi didn't answer. And I got the answer I wanted. I drew my long sword and charged forward. Taisu stood still, not moving. She simply raised her hand and blocked my attack. I was just aiming at her. I was merely aiming at the figure. In the next moment, I was sent flying over 500 meters away. This made me, who had been invincible, start to feel doubt. What kind of freak is this Enren? Not long ago, I was grinning in front of someone at the peak of the Wheel C, just when I thought I could easily win. Like before. Taizu merely raised a hand and blocked my attack. She hadn't even moved from her spot since the battle started. Even though I possessed the strongest physical constitution in history, the ancient holy body, I was actually knocked away by a Taizu of the same realm with a casual strike. Even if he is an emperor, it shouldn't be so easy. In the next moment, the Taizu actually charged toward me. I hurriedly threw a punch to meet him. An invisible momentum burst between us. But soon, I felt an unparalleled pressure. That woman actually cohesioned another attack from both sides. But I wasn't scared, I was actually glad. Injuries for injuries. Life for life. Either you die, or I perish. That arm pierced through my chest. I could hardly believe it. What a terrifying woman. Even with my sword intent, I couldn't break through your defense. I dropped the lifeless Taisuzi, cleared the 98th floor. The next moment, a golden light enveloped me. Opening my eyes again, I found myself in a void space. I couldn't help but tighten my brow. I kept feeling like there had been a battle just now, but no matter how much I tried to think, I just couldn't remember what had happened. In the end, I gave up on that idea. I looked at the few stone tablets in front of me. I walked up to the stone tablet with a little sword drawn on it. Please do so within half a day. The more sword techniques and sword moves I comprehend, the higher the evaluation, and the more thoroughly I understand them, the higher the evaluation. I quickly discovered that many images appeared in my mind. So I decisively shouted to the system, consume breakthrough points to learn sword moves. I don't know how long it took. The system notified me that I have completed learning 1,000 sword techniques. I couldn't help but think. I now possess the strongest physical body and the initial sword intent. If I were to combine these two, could it lead to the development of even more powerful techniques? Suddenly, an idea struck me. A great sword. Only a great sword can merge the heavenly killing sword intent with. The advantage of the ancient saint body is brought to its extreme, so I condensed the form of a giant sword. Even though I used both hands to hold it, I still felt it was extremely heavy. I exerted all my strength and struck down in front of me. The next moment, the entire manual was cleaved in two. Ding! All is at an end. First style. All things are reduced to nothingness. I couldn't help but laugh aloud. Was that really a sword I wielded? It's terrifying. Meanwhile, on the plaza of Taisu Peak, Qi Mingjie's nephew, kept teasing Chu Shaoran. If you were to follow me, I would ask my aunt to find a spiritual medicine for your mother. Don't you think that useless Chu Xiu can reach the 10th level of the human tower and get what you want? Chu Shaoran opened Qi Ming's outstretched hand. Get lost. Then she looked anxiously towards the Taisu tower. You will be fine. The next moment, a bell rang. The waiting disciples suddenly realized that someone had made it into the top 10. Then, my name appeared on the stone tablet. In that instant, the entire Taisu Peak fell silent. Chu Shaoran looked over in surprise. She saw me walking out with a smile. Sorry to keep you waiting. Chu Shaoran jogged over. Senior, you're finally out safely. In the next moment, the arena erupted with deafening cheers. I couldn't help but feel amazed. If they knew my true identity as Chu the Old Demon, they'd probably just abandon me. It seems I wasn't very successful as a villain after all. At this moment, two figures appeared behind me. Chu Xiu. The saint wants to see you. Come with us. After that, I arrived at the Tai Su Hall. I have paid my respects to the Holy Lord and my master. Taisuzi was immensely pleased that I broke the record. Upon hearing this, I immediately asked, since I broke the Sacred Lands record, is there a reward? I broke Taisu's Sacred Lands record that had stood for tens of thousands of years. I am the first man to reach the 98th floor at the Wheel C realm. The first thing I did after breaking the record was to demand my reward from the Supreme Saint of Taisu. Qi Mengdai abruptly stood up, angry at my impudence. Taisu Zi waved his hand, telling him not to be so agitated. Then he asked me what reward I desired. I directly asked for the 3 treasures the system had made me collect. In the end, the Holy Master shamelessly. The Tao could be just one thing as well. Under the mask, Qi Mengdai gritted her teeth. It seemed she hated my bold response to the situation to the core. The Holy Master was somewhat surprised after hearing my request. However, there is nothing you want in the Holy Land, but I can send someone to search for it. I nodded respectfully. My liking for Taisuzi increased greatly. If I could control the Saint Lord and make him mine, I wonder what surprises would await. The system was shocked by my audacious idea, truly worthy of being the man I chose. Daring to think, daring to do. Having said that, I really cast a spell in my hand. The strange runes flew rapidly towards Taisuzi. The system prompt popped up the next moment. I really successfully implanted the reincarnation heaven cry, parent-child seal into the Saint Lord's body, and this used up my remaining uses. However, when I retrieved and reused the child seal, the number of uses increased to 2. Seeing this, I couldn't help but gasp. An image of Tianxiang's character involuntarily appeared in my mind. My wicked thoughts triggered a system reward. The middle volume of the Danjing. It said that this spell has 3 volumes, but I only got 1. However, this makes up for my shortcomings. After all, how can a villain be considered complete without knowing how to use poison? Tai Suzy didn't notice what had just happened. Then she bestowed upon me some treasures to enhance my qi and blood. After Qi Mengdai and I left, Tai Suzy finally sensed something. Something seemed to have threatened me just now. After a thorough check, Tai Suzy attributed it all to a sensory illusion. On the way back, I suddenly spoke, asking my junior sister, who was serving tea, to leave. I have something to say to Master. Qi Mengdai hurriedly shouted, "No, you can't leave." Realizing her own impropriety, Qi Mengdai finally reacted, and let them leave first. After they left, I cast a soundproof barrier at the door. I looked at my master with an amused expression. "Only you and I are on this flying boat now. Don't waste this beautiful scenery." Qi Mengdai angrily removed her mask. "Disciple, you want to bully me again? Do you really think of me as a tool?" I moved closer. "So in your eyes, I'm that desperate?" Then I snatched the Qinghu mask. "This thing is good. It perfectly conceals one's cultivation. Even Taisuzi didn't notice your cultivation was gone." He praised me lavishly as well. My body was already tainted with the scent of my own heavenly fragrance saint body, but it could cover it up very well. Even the Holy Lord didn't notice. At the same time, he also let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, he knew how to cover it up. Otherwise, he and his secret would have been exposed. Then he looked at me again. "What exactly do you need for me to help you restore your cultivation?" I handed him the black silk I had already prepared. "Try it on first." Qi Mengdai looked at the offered item with some confusion. I continued to tempt him. "I'll give you a reward if you put it on." Finally, under my coercion and temptation, Qi Mengdai finally put on the black silk stockings. Seeing this, I couldn't help but touch it. Qi Mengdai instantly blushed. She questioned what I was trying to do. I shook my head. "Don't call me a rebellious disciple. Call me brother." Qi Mengdai turned her head away, embarrassed. "I will never call you that." 10 minutes later, Qi Mengdai was tortured to the point of losing her composure. Yet she still refused to let go. I whispered softly in her ear, "If you don't stop, I'll use distant sound transmission, and let everyone know about your relationship with me." Qi Mengdai gritted her teeth. Finally, she spat out 2 words. "Brother." After that, I entrusted Chu Shaoran with my imperial sand and gave it to him. He, in turn, gave me information about the soul infant demon fruit. At that time, I heard some disciples nearby discussing the heavenly mechanism list. A thin disciple said, "That old demon Chu has been dead for so long, someone must have replaced his position. The old devil Chu from the central region is standing right in front of you." Suddenly, they let out a cry of surprise. The 4th spot on the little saint ranking has changed. Originally, Zhang Xianling from the Yinyang Divine sect was in that spot, but now it's Lu Hongyi. When I heard that name, I suddenly stopped in my tracks. Could it be him? I accidentally learned about the girl who deeply loved me. For the first time, I, who had always been without desires, felt a sense of urgency. So I went to the 2 disciples, and proposed to buy the Heavenly Secrets Gazette from them. Upon seeing that it was me, the 2 directly gifted me the Heavenly Secrets Gazette. After I took it and left, the 2 disciples finally relaxed. Senior Brother Chu has ascended the Celestial Mechanism Pavilion's dragon list. Now, offending him is like hitting a steel plate. After that, I learned from the information above, that Yaoguang Holy Land Saint's son was at my location after my death. In that place. As for the woman in red, I actually reached 4th place on the Little Saint list, but the information below caused my expression to drastically change. Lake Saintess Lu Hongyi assassinated a Red Dust Sword sect elder and defected. The ultimate reason was actually because the Red Dust Sword sect elder wrote about plotting my murder. I couldn't help but recall that figure. It really is something he's capable of. It turns out that a long time ago, I met the girl in a meadow. Lu Hongyi told me that, like me, she had lost her family, but I told her, "It's not the same. My family is across the stars." Lu Hongyi didn't respond to me, but instead, with excitement, she said to me, "Since you helped me with my family's funeral arrangements, from now on, you are my family." I stood up and made a pact with him. From this day forward, we are family. Thinking of this, I used the thousands of miles of sound transmission, literally, thousandly voice transmission, a long-distance communication method, to send a message to Tao Tian, asking him to help me search for someone. Soon after, Tao Tian unexpectedly came to my side. His face was full of doubt. "Senior brother is here alone. Is something troubling you?" I told him. "I just miss home." Tao Tian seemed thoughtful after hearing that. "Senior brother has been on the mountain for over 30 years. It was when your mortal family home was attacked by demonic beasts that master brought you back. But senior brother, you were incredibly lucky. You, a 3-year-old, survived." Then he reached out and took my hand. "Senior brother. Chishan County, your hometown, a sacred place, it's your home. Both my master and I are your family. If you ever miss home in the future, you can come find me anytime." I smiled and agreed. "You are all my wings." Because 30 years ago, Chu Xiu survived, and it was all part of my plan. Even Chi Mengdai was placed by me. Tao Tian's cheeks reddened slightly. "Senior brother seems to have changed. He used to avoid me every day, but now he's so close to me." Suddenly, he lifted his toes. He lightly pecked my face. Then he placed a piece of information in my arms. Then, shyly, she hurriedly ran away. I couldn't help but blush. How did I suddenly get kissed? I then looked over the information in the letter. 3 days ago, Lu Hongyi appeared in Chang'an City. At the same time, Chang'an City seemed like a hell on earth. An old man shouted loudly into the sky. "Are you going to end up like old Devil Chu? Are you going to be an enemy of the entire human race? Are you going to be an enemy of all forces? Our Ji family will not spare you. We will tear you to pieces." Lu Hongyi swung his sword downward. The cyan sword aura instantly ended the old man's life. Lu Hongyi's face showed no emotion. A man in black appeared behind him. "Next, where do you plan to go? To kill those people? Are you really going to become an enemy of the world for him? If he is an enemy of the world, then I will be an enemy of the world. If he becomes a Buddha, I will help him save all beings. If he becomes a demon, I will help him slaughter the entire world." At the same time, I came to a deserted place to cultivate the magical techniques rewarded for clearing the Taisu Tower. The 9-character mantra, also known as the 9 secrets, the ultimate secret method of heaven and earth, the 9 secrets completion. Once completed, I will be invincible in heaven and earth. 3 days later, I finally exhaled a breath. After using it for so long, I haven't even fully understood the first character. Even now, I've only grasped a bit of the surface. At this moment, an unexpected visitor arrived behind me. The woman looked at me with a gentle smile. "I am Hua Luofei, an elder of Daoyun Peak. You are Chu Xiu, aren't you? The #1 beauty of Taisu Holy Land suddenly sought me out. But not to talk about love. She simply wanted to look at the moon with me." I looked at the mark on his chest, a mark unique to me, and immediately understood. The beauty in front of me is probably Saint Master Tai Suzi. However, I didn't reveal it. Instead, I bowed to him. "I wonder what Elder Hua needs from me." He suddenly sat down beside me. He asked if my diligent cultivation was meant for the wilderness demon's secret realm. I nodded. But soon, I couldn't take my eyes off. "This figure is truly stunning." I sat beside him. "Elder Hua, I have a question I would like to ask you. In the age of fallen emperors, only one appears every 100,000 years. A human emperor or a demon emperor. The enmity between humans and demons can be traced back to before the primordial era. But why, when a human emperor appears, why didn't they completely annihilate the demon race? Or why didn't the demon race annihilate the human race?" After saying that, I looked at him intently. Perhaps only he could answer this question for me. He told me that there was an unspoken agreement between the human emperor and the demon emperor. Whichever side had an emperor ascend would not destroy the other. As for why, no one knows. But it is said that when one becomes an emperor, they will obtain all the secrets about the starry sky and the celestial continent. I find that somewhat unbelievable. Is there anyone in this world stronger than an emperor? Tai Suzi shook her head. "I only know that from the primordial age to the present, this starry sky has seen a total of 17 emperors, but there is no trace of them left in the world. Those who could become emperors were all extraordinarily talented. As for why they didn't take that final step, or perhaps the path ahead was already cut off, I don't know." After saying this, he stood up and said self-deprecatingly, "We're actually discussing the matter of emperors. It's a bit too ambitious. It's time for me to go back. You continue your cultivation. Will we have a chance to meet again? Let's meet again after you come out of the Huang Yao secret realm. Then I'll wait for you here." After parting with Tai Suzi, I strode towards Chimengye's cave dwelling, but a man's voice came from inside. "Auntie, you must help me with this. You are Chu Xiu's master. As long as you speak, he will definitely give you the Emperor's silver sand." Chimengye's expression was indifferent. "It's not that I don't want to help you. Although I am his master, I cannot ask him for things." Looking at that red-haired man, I suddenly remembered. He seems to be the one who harassed Chu Shaoran that day. Thinking of this, I suddenly had an amusing idea. Why not let him be my sucker? So, I imitated Chi Mengdai and called out to him. I heard you want Earth's silver sand. He clutched onto me as if I were his savior. He begged me to give him the Emperor's silver sand. I took the item out. But this item was something I had painstakingly retrieved from the endless sea of fire. Chi Ming's eyes were filled with greed. He had already started fantasizing about using it to threaten and manipulate Chu Xiaoran into compromising. So he directly asked me to name a price. I told him 1 million top-grade spirit stones each. Chi Ming immediately agreed. He was extremely pleased because he thought my price was very reasonable. After taking the spirit stones, I smiled and complimented him on being a man of great talent. As expected, generous. Only, I have some more here. Do you need any more? I can give you a friend's price. He stared rigidly at the stones in my hand. Secretly, he decided he must buy them all. So he asked me how many more I had. I then summoned tens of thousands of Emperor's silver sands. This much. Chi Ming stared in disbelief, his eyes wide open. This isn't even a little bit. He angrily pointed at my nose. He turned around and yelled at Chi Mengdai. Aunt, this is extortion. Chi Mengdai didn't seem interested in defending him at all. She directly told him to get lost. Chi Ming wanted to say something else, but seeing Kai Mengdi's cold gaze, he could only leave in anger. Kai Mengdi turned to me. Disciple, why did you set him up? I smiled. When did I ever set him up? Then I directly came to his side. What did you just call me? Chi Mengdai hid to the side. Traitor. I took out a scratching tool. I'll give you one more chance. What should you call me? Under my constant teasing, Chi Mengdai still refused to speak. I instantly lost interest. I snatched the apple from his hand. Did you finish the task I asked you to do last time? Chi Mengdai nodded. In my chambers. After arriving at his chambers, Chi Mengdai took out a box. I played with it in my hands for a moment. Not bad. Then I picked up the stone and began sliding it over his body. This thing is very useful. It will be very helpful for your cultivation recovery. Chi Mengdai screamed in shock. You rebellious disciple. You want me to make this thing just to bully me? I pushed him down with one hand. Smiling brightly, I looked at him. Chi Mengdai immediately turned her head. I misspoke. I once again forced Chi Mengdai to cultivate with me. Afterward, I still just walked away, having patted my backside. However, I did uncover a secret. The Qi Yun value increases with dual cultivation. Soon, only Chi Mengdai was left alone in the room. A smile appeared on Chi Mengdie's lips. That rebellious disciple just released me from the restriction. It seems he forgot to reseal my cultivation before leaving. Then she sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. The familiar feeling of cultivation returned. The joy of being able to cultivate again. He was even more joyful than when he first felt the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. But soon he realized that during the time his cultivation was sealed, his cultivation had actually made considerable progress. Chi Mengdai sneered coldly. Rebellious disciple, you just wait. The next moment, the spiritual energy he had condensation in his hand exploded violently. His cultivation was unexpectedly sealed again. I quietly spoke into his ear using a communication talisman. I just wanted to remind you, Master, no matter how far apart we are, I can still seal you at any time. Chi Mengdai angrily grabbed the doll that looked exactly like me. Then she picked up a silver needle, constantly piercing through me back and forth. Suddenly, a pounding sound came from his abdomen. Chi Mengdai was a little stunned. Why does it feel like something's moving in my stomach? 7 days later, countless disciples gathered at the entrance of the Abyssal Demon's secret realm. I wasn't that noticeable in the crowd. Taisuzi stood at the entrance of the secret realm and announced, you must gather at the initial teleportation point within 30 days, or you'll be trapped inside until the next opening. Anything you obtain inside will determine your ranking this time. I yawned, hoping he would just shut up already. The only reason I came here was for the soul infant demon fruit. At that moment, Yi Fan suddenly appeared behind me and shouted my name. I was also a little surprised when I saw him. This guy clearly has the fate of the protagonist. It seems this trip to find the secret manual won't be peaceful. Yi Fan spoke up, wanting to team up with me. I didn't think much and agreed right away. Just as I turned around, Yi Fan's expression became incredibly grim. Suddenly, a voice transmission echoed in his mind. After entering the secret realm, find a way to get rid of him. It's best if he dies at the hands of the wild beasts. Make it so that even the Saint Master's time rewind can't find out. Lu Shui gazed into the distance. Chi Mengdai, I've already arranged for several disciples. This time, I will definitely eliminate your precious disciple. At that moment, a flying boat passed before her. Jian Lingyun looked somewhat surprised as he glanced at Xiao Yifeng from Yinxia Peak. You two are brothers in the same sect. Are you really going to take action against Chu Xiu? Xiao Yifeng maintained his usual calm, indifferent smile. The one who survives is the senior brother. Hearing their conversation, Lu Shui couldn't help but laugh. It seems I'm not the only one who wants to get rid of Chu Xiu. On the other side, two graceful figures approached me at the same time. Tao Tian looked at Chu Xiaoran in confusion. Why are you here? I came to see Chu Senior off. I asked them if there was something they needed from me. Tao Tian handed me a heavy sword. This is the one you asked me to find a few days ago, so I specially rushed over to give it to you. I also learned through the system that there's a high probability of causing the number to crash. I tried it myself, tested the feel. It truly suits my taste. My junior sister happily approached. Senior brother, do you like it? I affectionately patted her head. I really like it. With your treasure, this expedition into the secret realm is almost guaranteed to succeed. I turned to look at Chu Xiaoran. He took out a storage bag. Inside are some formation materials. I hope they can help you. Thank you, Senior Brother Chu, for the Emperor's silver sand before. Wait until you return safely. Would you grace my family with your presence at my estate? My mother wishes to thank you in person. I told him not to bother, and I promised to visit when I return. Meanwhile, the secret realm's gate shone with a dazzling light. Taisuzu smiled at everyone. The teleportation array has been activated. Disciples who have qualified, hurry and enter. Hearing his words, I turned around and bid farewell to the two junior sisters. As they watched me leave, Tao Tian said angrily, there are still so many things I wanted to say. Chu Xiaoran made way for me. The secret manual contains something my senior brother urgently needs. Naturally, he's anxious. Chu Xiaoran's words, spoken with the air of a mistress, angered Tao Tian. She warned him to stay away from Chu Xiu from now on. Chu Xiaoran remained calm and unhurried. My relationship with my senior brother is completely above board. Senior sister, what do you mean? Senior sister, if you're going to be this impatient and easily angered, but it will accelerate aging. Tao Tian was completely enraged. A terrifying aura raged around him. Are you provoking me? Within the secret realm, a group of people gathered together. Just how large is this desolate demon's secret realm? I heard from my master that it's supposedly 10 million li. It's about 1/20th the size of the southern territory. Looking at the mass of disciples in the distance, I also had the idea of forming a team. As long as I follow that guy Yi Fan, I should be able to find what I want with the help of his good fortune. Suddenly, the leader noticed me. I saw Chu Xiu. Kill him. I heard their angry shouts, as if I owed them a fortune. Without hesitation, I turned and ran. So I decisively summoned my flying boat, jumped aboard, and flew into the sky. However, seeing me leave, the crowd sneered. I had the tracking compass given to me by senior brother Jian Lingyun. He can't escape. In order to obtain the legendary material, the Soul Infant Demon Fruit, I ventured alone into the Wilderness Demon's secret realm. However, as soon as I entered the secret realm, I was hunted by hundreds of people. While fleeing, I accidentally stumbled into the lair of a wild beast. And here, I discovered what I had been looking for. One of the three essential main materials needed, Soul Infant Demon Fruit. Suddenly, a huge shadow blocked my way. It turned out to be a demon beast at the quasi-demon emperor level. After seeing me, without hesitation, it opened its massive jaws, trying to swallow me whole. I immediately used the walking character secret I had just comprehended, and simultaneously slashed down at it with my self-created first sword technique. Immediately after that, a terrifying scream from the giant spread throughout the secret realm. After dealing with the giant serpent, its flesh and blood turned into black energy that condensed into a black lotus. However, I had no intention of keeping it. Instead, I directly exchanged it for 70,000 breakthrough points. At this moment, the breakthrough points I had already reached the 500,000 milestone. So I activated the cultivation feature. I spent all my points on cultivating the walking character secret. I don't know how much time passed, but I finally reached the beginner level of understanding the walking character secret. After finishing, I turned my attention to the Soul Infant Demon Fruit on the mountain peak. However, when I arrived here, ready to harvest it, I realized that the Soul Infant Demon Fruit didn't seem to be ripe yet. The system couldn't help but sneer at this moment. Host, your luck is incredibly bad, shining with darkness. Just when the system thought I was shutting down, I unexpectedly flashed a mischievous smile. I have a plan. Seeing my smile, the system suddenly had a bad feeling. Soon, the bright moonlight chased away the dazzling sunlight. A few voices appeared behind me. What a coincidence. Senior Chu, I didn't expect to run into you here. Seeing their enthusiastic expressions, I curiously asked in return, are you also here to hunt me down? Chen Mufan showed a friendly smile. At the same time, send a message to the others. Hide your killing intent. We can't stop him. Let's hold him off and wait for the others to surround and kill him. Then he put on a surprised expression. Senior Brother Chu, what are you saying? Killing fellow disciples is a grave crime. Could it be that someone is after you? Then, the girl in purple approached. Senior Brother, who exactly is hunting you? Tell us. Perhaps we can help. I shook my head in disappointment. I don't know who it is either. Anyway, there are many people hunting me. The young girl grabbed my hand. "Senior, why don't you join us? We can help you." Seeing their earnest expressions, I couldn't help but think it's a shame you didn't go to the Oscars. But this junior's broad-mindedness is truly remarkable. Chen Mufan sent a sound transmission to a few people. "This guy is just a lecherous, good-natured fool. Look at his conflicted expression. He's probably still worried about our safety." Regarding their little concerns, I readily agreed. The girl excitedly grabbed my arm. "Senior brother is so great." After that, I took them to the place I had prepared beforehand. I just made a whole roasted lamb. "Why don't we all have some together?" Everyone was clearly taken aback, but they quickly joined the barbecue feast. It wasn't until they saw me down my drink in one go that everyone's mood finally relaxed. "Looks like the wine isn't poisoned." After 3 rounds of drinks, I suddenly spoke up. "How many benefits did Xiao Yifeng and Jian Lingyun give you, to make you stop at nothing to try and kill me?" These words shocked everyone. But soon, everyone drew their weapons. "When did you find out?" Chen Mufan quickly swung his giant hammer at me. I silently chanted the Xing character secret. I dodged the giant hammer just in time. I felt a little helpless. "Do you really think I didn't poison you just now?" Everyone started checking their bodies. Sure enough, they found dark purple poison markings. I looked at them with a playful smirk. "My poison didn't contain any alcohol. But if you want to live, then I can show mercy and give you a chance." Next, I threw the note with the plan over to you. Just follow the instructions on it. The vial contains 10 antidote pills. They'll keep you safe for 3 days. Once the task is complete, I'll cure you of the poison. To make them believe, I even swore in the name of Qi Mengdai, that if I go back on my word, his cultivation will never make any progress in his lifetime. Far on the other side, Qi Mengdai suddenly sneezed. Back to just now. Upon hearing the name Qi Mengdai, everyone finally believed my words. I summoned the flying boat again. Now we just wait for your good news. To obtain the mature soul infant demonic fruit sooner, I devised a plan to make countless talented individuals become the nourishment for its growth. But even so, the nutrients required by the soul infant demonic fruit are far from enough. On the other hand, Chen Mufan sent a message and called Yan Xiao. As soon as Yan Xiao appeared, he reprimanded them. "Chen Mufan, what happened? How did you let Chu Xiu escape?" Chen Mufan quickly explained. "An hour ago, we ran into Chu Xiu here. But as soon as he saw us, he turned and ran. We couldn't catch up." Seeing Yan Zhao's eyes growing colder, Chen Mufan took a map out of his pocket. This is something that Chu Xiu dropped while escaping. It records the location where the soul infant demon fruit grows. After a brief shock, "I don't believe you have such good intentions." Chen Mufan explained that the environment where the soul infant demon fruit grows is extremely dangerous. "If we go, it's a death sentence for us. As long as you're willing to help us, when the time comes, just give us 5 portions instead." Saying that, he handed the map to Yan Xiao. After receiving the map, Yan Xiao prepared to set off immediately to pick the soul infant demon fruit. But inside, he couldn't stop sneering. "This guy is truly naive. Does he really think I'll share it with you all?" Not long after, the group arrived at the designated location. Yan Xiao reminded everyone that this gray mist can block spiritual senses. "Don't stand too scattered." A woman confidently stepped forward. "Senior brother, you're overthinking." Suddenly, the soul infant demon fruit emitted a chilling laugh. Everyone was startled. It really is the soul infant demon fruit. If it is consumed, it can directly lead to the divine power realm. Yan Xiao waved his hand to quiet everyone. I observe that this demon fruit is not yet ripe. It is said that when it matures, the soul infant demon fruit will turn blood red. If consumed recklessly, one will be devoured by the yin energy and die. The woman beside him, however, showed a bitter expression. "The time we can stay in this secret realm is limited. Why don't we take it down first?" At this time, a surge of blood suddenly appeared. Seeing this, the woman quickly covered her mouth and nose. "It's an illusionary array." Then, the next moment, she heard the man behind her scream. Then he grabbed his neck tightly. "You vile woman! You are the one who killed my mother." For a moment, everyone started killing each other. Yan Xiao also became incredibly panicked at this moment. "Everyone, wake up." But soon, everyone was deeply trapped in the illusion and died here. As the blood was continuously absorbed by the soul infant demon fruit, its color became increasingly red. After everything went quiet, I just arrived here, but the soul infant demon fruit still needs a bit more blood energy to ripen. Seeing this, I sighed softly. Then let's wait a few more days. Meanwhile, the few people down the mountain looked worried. Their voices disappeared. Could something have happened? Just then, my voice rang out behind them. "A few of you didn't go up the mountain." Chen Mufan quickly began to explain. "We've already sent someone up to gather it. So, can senior brother give us the antidote now?" I could immediately see through his intentions. Not only had they failed to get the item, they even ended up betraying their own senior brothers and sisters. And yet they still have the nerve to ask for things. Suddenly, there was a loud rumbling sound from the ground. The terrifying demon energy grew even more intense. This demon energy is brought by you all. Chen Mufan quickly explained that it wasn't. But the next moment, a group of half-beasts riding on bull demons appeared in front of us. Humans. Humans again. Kill them. Hearing that, I suddenly understood. It seems they're intentionally hunting us. So I decisively activated the Xingzi secret technique. Raising my great sword, I slashed down at the demon race. This move instantly scared the leading demon tribe member out of his wits. I pressed my big sword against his head. You demons are here for the 10 guilds. Seeing the twisted look in my eyes, the demon quickly shouted, he's a powerful demon from the beyond. He's the one who had us ambush you again. Hearing beyond, I felt a faint. It seems this desolate demon realm is far deeper than it appears. Qi Mengdai, who outwardly expresses such intense hatred towards me, became flustered and panicked upon hearing news of my supposed demise. Upon learning of my safety, she returned to her usual cold demeanor. I struck down the demon before me with a single blow. The other demons witnessing this were almost scared out of their wits. The strongest bull was killed so easily. Then, I turned to look at those unlucky ones. The rest is up to you. The woman asked me for the antidote. Hearing that, I tossed the antidote to her. I told you, I, Chu Xiu, never go back on my word. After saying that, I left the place aboard the flying boat. Seeing that I really left, those demons became incredibly excited. The strongest one's gone. Aren't these few now at our mercy? After saying this, they surrounded the few people. You can scream all you want. Scream until your throats are hoarse. No one will save you. Shortly after, the fat man pinned the woman underneath him. Big brother pig, I will love you properly. On the other side, after leaving the valley, I started wandering aimlessly. At that moment, I suddenly noticed a familiar figure. I couldn't help but approach for a closer look. It was actually Yi Fan. However, Yi Fan didn't notice my presence. On the contrary, he was greatly pleased because he found the treasure of the near-demon emperor. I too laughed out loud as I watched him. I have to admit, the protagonist's destiny is truly impressive. It's just a shame he ran into me. Thinking of this, I immediately used the Xingzi secret and rushed in first. Yi Fan looked around in confusion. Did something just pass by? On the other hand, I've reached the depths of this cave. I never expected to find all-purpose stone milk here. Looks like I'll be making a small fortune. Because the spiritual energy here is so concentrated, there are quite a few rare immortal herbs. As I collected those treasures, my luck began to increase steadily. Seeing this scene, I shouted out, System, my luck is growing so quickly. It can't be because I snatched the protagonist's opportunity, right? The system laughed and called me shameless. I smiled and looked at the storage bag in my hand. With these treasures, even a pig could take off, right? Suddenly, I had a feeling and looked to the side. I saw 2 treasures, one red and one blue, placed not far away. It seemed that these 2 items were the most valuable part of this place. Just as I was about to make my move, I suddenly noticed the white snake behind the treasures. It turned out to be a peak-level snake demon from the other shore. I thought to myself that I must be careful. I absolutely cannot trigger any traps. But just as I was about to act, the entire cave suddenly shook. When I turned around, I saw Yi Fan not far away. Yi Fan waved at me awkwardly. What a coincidence. I just happened to discover that there was treasure here as well. Looking at the increasingly glowing formation beneath his feet, it was definitely this guy who triggered the mechanism. At the same time, the giant serpent was staring at us with its blood-red eyes. In the next moment, it opened its massive mouth and exhaled a stench that hadn't been cleaned in centuries. I immediately rushed forward and grabbed my treasure. I dashed toward the exit in a hurry. Let me suffer the consequences of my own actions. Outside the secret realm, several elders were stationed there. Suddenly, an elder rushed over. The life tokens for entering the wild demon's secret realm shattered in large numbers. Qi Mengdai suddenly opened her eyes wide. She urgently asked how many had broken. 775. Qi Mengdai finally couldn't hold back and rushed forward. Is my disciple's life token alright? When she learned that Chu Xiu's life token was intact, Qi Mengdai finally relaxed. At the same time, she felt ashamed and annoyed at her own worry. Taisuzi told everyone not to panic. I will use the illusory eye to have a look. The next moment, a blue array shimmered in the center of the field. Simultaneously, several giant eyeballs appeared in the secret realm. The disciples within the secret realm also noticed the blue eyeball. The Yaozu felt equally terrified and uneasy. Are the humans finally going to attack us? Inside the Yaozu's main camp, the Yaozu leader came to the mountain peak. Don't worry. No one can attack us through the Huang Yao secret realm. Not even a Saint King. Since they want to watch, then let them watch us slaughter the human race. After saying that, he swung his blade forward. Kill all the humans. Then he took out half of a stone mirror. It was shimmering with blue ripples. He revealed an evil smile. It looks like the other half of the mirror has appeared. If I get the other half, combining them, I'll be able to break through to the Daogong realm. 1 second ago, Chi Mengdai was hoping a demonic beast would swallow me whole. The next, I was running to Taisuzi, begging him to save me. Simply because I am the only man in 3,000 years to have taken his body. Not long ago, Taisuzi saw the scene inside the secret realm through the illusory eye. What no one expected was that the demon clan was slaughtering the disciples inside the secret realm. Soon, an elder noticed that the leader of the demons was actually a peak being of the other shore. Wasn't there a realm limit in the secret realm? Chi Mengdai hurried over to Taisuzi's side upon seeing this. Holy Lord, should we open the transmission gate ahead of time, to allow my disciples to return early? Taisuzi smiled at him. Why? Worried about your disciples' safety? Chi Mengdai scoffed inwardly. I'm not worried about that rebellious disciple. I'm worried about the other disciples. Taisuzi's expression didn't change. I already made the arrangements. At most 2 days, the light gate will open. If you both can't hold on, that would be very disappointing. Chi Mengdai nervously clenched her fingers. I wonder where that disobedient disciple is. As soon as the thought crossed his mind, he immediately rejected it. Hurry up and let the demon beast eat you. Inside the secret realm, the demon army was relentlessly chasing a disciple. Su Rushue was sweating profusely. The prolonged running had already drained most of his spiritual energy. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Now there's the heavenly eye surveillance. If I turn a blind eye to this, then my future Saint's Son plan will likely be ruined. The next moment, I quickly moved and stood behind Su Rushue. Su Rushue looked back in surprise. I smiled faintly at her. Junior sister, I'll help you out of this. Su Rushue finally recognized my identity at this moment. The monster who ascended the Tai Su Tower, but he is only at the peak of the Wheel Sea. Every demon beast here is at the Divine Bridge realm. Before he could speak, I had already raised my heavy sword and charged forward. Su Rushue couldn't help but shout in panic. No! The next moment, blue blood splattered across his face. The beast that had cornered him was now decapitated. Su Rushue looked at my tall figure, her heart skipped a beat. Senior brother Chu is so strong. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say he's the reincarnation of a demon god. I noticed she was still dazed and spoke up to remind her. Junior sister, are you alright? Su Rushue quickly replied, it's fine. Take this. It will help you recover from your injuries. Su Rushue stared blankly at the lingji in my hand, then turned to glance at her dying junior sister. She immediately made up her mind. Thank you, senior brother. This kindness, Su Rushue would forever remember in her heart. I will repay you in the future. I didn't respond to him. Instead, I told them to go ahead to the transmission plaza and wait for the light gate to restart. After saying that, I touched the half-stone mirror on my chest. I could feel his energy fluctuations becoming very strong. To be safe, I should remove the soul infant demon fruit and improve my cultivation as soon as possible. On the other side, the footage we just recorded has also been sent to Tai Su Square. Some female disciples have even started shipping me and Su Rushue. Taisuzi finally showed a smile of approval. This person is kind-hearted. His talent is extraordinary, very impressive. Chi Mengdai couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when she saw this. It's fine now. Meanwhile, the two disciples accidentally encountered a soul infant demon fruit about to ripen. Just as they fantasized about obtaining the fruit, they suddenly noticed an uninvited guest nearby. They quickly recognized me. Then the two of them laughed in unison. Simultaneously using voice transmission, they decided to have me pick the demon fruit and eliminate all dangers. Then I'll snatch it. Immediately, the disciple said to me, this magical fruit is priceless and incredibly precious. Go in and bring it out. The three of us will split it evenly. How about that? I directly and bluntly refused his proposal. The two disciples' faces immediately darkened. Don't be unreasonable. Honestly, help us pick them out. Perhaps we can still spare your life. After saying that, the two of them took out their weapons, preparing to capture me first. However, I remained motionless on the spot, letting them use all sorts of ultimate moves to trap me. Just as the disciple in red approached me, I immediately activated the Xingzi secret to dodge. Then I drew out the heavy sword again, and easily sliced him in half. The disciple in blue was startled, but I didn't give him a chance to escape. I grabbed the heavy sword and stabbed it into his chest. At the same time, I kindly reminded him that in his next life, he should not be a hypocritical villain. After that, I dealt with both of them. The body was thrown next to the soul infant demon fruit. In an instant, crimson blood poured into the demon fruit. I only broke through to the most ordinary will see realm, and yet it attracted a thunder tribulation that comes once in 10,000 years. In order to share the damage, I rushed into the demon territory. I turned everyone into tools to share my thunder tribulation. Not long ago, I finally obtained the soul infant demon fruit I had been longing for. As I took the fruit, the surrounding branches began to wither rapidly. I don't know how long it will take for the soul infant demon fruit to grow again. Soon, I heard the system's soft voice in my ear. Unfortunately, this place will never be able to grow any more demon fruits. The host truly lives up to being the villain, competing to sever all connections, gaining 500 breakthrough points. But host, are you planning to break through to the 10th level of the Wheel C now? I nod in confusion. He tells me, because the second breakthrough to the extreme realm will soon face the thunder tribulation. When I saw this, I was completely stunned. Are you out of your mind? Isn't the thunder tribulation only supposed to occur after reaching the small saint realm? The final explanation the system gave me was, just a guess, it might be because I'm too strong. After that, I chose to wait for the right moment. At the same time, I started searching for the other half of the stone mirror. Suddenly, I heard the roars of demonic beasts in the distance. Mo Shah looked at the shining stone mirror in his hand and suddenly laughed. So the one holding the other half of the stone mirror has come to me. At that moment, I also realized something was wrong. Could it be that the other half of the stone mirror is on that demonic tribe leader? So I turned back to look at the system again. Are you sure I'll really encounter a lightning tribulation? Hearing its confirmation, I couldn't help but smile. Afterward, I appeared in the air above the teleportation plaza on a flying boat. Most of the disciples inside the formation were severely injured. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh. These demons are even more ruthless than I am. It seems they intend to wipe us all out. Just then, a massive demonic army had arrived outside the formation. The disciples stood ready, drawing their weapons. Mo Shah let out a loud laugh, then took out a stone mirror and scraped it against the defensive formation. The next moment, the once impenetrable defense suddenly had a breach. The demon shark coldly scanned the crowd. If you don't want to die, hand over the person with the fragment of the stone mirror. Upon hearing his words, I took out the other half of the stone mirror. Is this what you're talking about? This scene was also transmitted back to Taisu Square by the Heavenly Eye. Everyone's face is filled with worry. Brother Chu is being so foolish. Chi Mengdai is also incredibly worried. Now they know it has the magic mirror. Either he sacrifices himself voluntarily and steps forward, or he will be pushed out by everyone. Either choice is a dead end. Chi Mengdai secretly glanced at Taisuzi, but found his expression unchanged. Could he be planning to use the Emperor Zun's hidden trump card? At this moment, a disciple came out. Senior Brother Chu, you are a true disciple. At this point, are you unwilling to sacrifice for us junior brothers and sisters? Su Rushue immediately retorted at him. Are you trying to sacrifice Senior Brother Chu? The disciple chuckled lightly. Junior Sister Su, you're going too far. Senior Brother Chu is willingly sacrificing himself for the greater good. Isn't that right? Senior Brother Chu. Su Rushue blocked behind me and said to the crowd, do you think that by handing over Senior Brother Chu, the demon race will let us go? The voice of the demon shark interrupted him. I'm giving you 50 breaths. If he doesn't come out by then, I'll go in. Hearing this, all the disciples couldn't hold back any longer and shouted, Senior Brother Chu, hurry and come out. I patted Su Rushue on the shoulder. Thank you for still being willing to speak for me. But from here on, leave it to Senior Brother. After saying that, I directly stepped out of the formation. Outside the secret realm, no one had expected this outcome. Chi Mengdai couldn't help but feel moved. So this is your choice. The devil shark looked at me with admiration. You're pretty good. You have more guts than those guys. I ignored him and opened a small box. Inside, I saw the soul infant demon fruit. The devil shark's eyes gleamed with greed. Quick, steal the demon fruit from his hands and bring it to me. For a moment, a dozen or so demon clansmen surrounded me. I bit into the demon fruit, simultaneously telling the system that a breakthrough was possible. The next moment, a series of prompts rang out one after another. Your primordial saint body has undergone a transformation. The Wheel C realm has been completely elevated. Ascend to the 9 levels of the divine bridge. The host is about to face the tribulation of lightning. Please be prepared. As the system prompt sounded, the entire secret realm was instantly covered by a cloud of birds. I raised my hand and activated the golden body dharma. Since everyone is so enthusiastic, then let me treat you all to a lightning tribulation set meal. The next moment, golden lightning swept over everyone. Moments later, my surroundings were empty. I looked at the stone mirror in my hand in surprise. I didn't expect this thing to have the effect of resisting the tribulation. Then I suddenly remembered. I still had a strange egg on me. Then a chattering sound rang in my ears. It was you, kid, going through tribulation. I curiously asked what it was. The little chick angrily pointed at me, telling me to watch my mouth. Otherwise, it would eat me up. I found it a bit funny. The strength in my hand involuntarily increased. If you don't confess honestly, I'll crush you. I clearly only have the strength of the 9th level of Divine Bridge, yet I killed a peak beyond the shore great demon, relying solely on the power of my physical body. This made Taisuzi, who had been observing me, make up his mind. to give me the position of Taisu Saint Sun. Not long ago, Mo Sha raised his greatsword for a sneak attack. I, a mere insignificant fish in his eyes, reacted instantly. I drew my greatsword and slashed back. In an instant, his prized greatsword snapped. The chick in his arms was startled by my strike. Mo Sha was enraged beyond measure. Being driven back by a human cultivator is a great shame for a demon cultivator, but what awaited him was a purple blade of light. I don't have the habit of giving my enemies a second chance to attack. At this time, one by one, the disciples looked at me with surprise, and this reckless act of mine was also reported back to the Taisu Square. What concerned them even more was why I could attract a heavenly tribulation at the Wheel Sea realm. How did he survive that thunder calamity? Tai Sitsi turned to look at Chi Mengdai. Did you see that? Chi Mengdai nodded blankly. Golden Chi and blood. Golden will see. The chaotic seed and the Qingnian vision. He is the legendary ancestral saint body. At this moment, he finally understood why his cultivation had progressed so slowly in the past. It turned out to be the influence of the sacred body. Tai Suzi said calmly. Chu Xiu was able to break the curse of not being able to cultivate on his own. This was truly astonishing. The Holy Land has not yet chosen the Saint Sun. Once he returns, then let him be the Taisu Holy Sun. Chi Mengdai noticed the strange expression on his face. The Taisu Sun asked back, don't you agree? Chi Mengdai collected her thoughts. The Holy Sun is not a trivial matter. It requires the joint decision of all peak masters. Besides, his cultivation is too low. I'm afraid it will cause dissatisfaction among other peak masters. Tai Sitsi chuckled, not taking it to heart. Chu Xiu's performance today. I believe no one will deny my suggestion. And I can feel, he is a kind child. Chi Mengdai snorted coldly. He kind? You didn't see how he treated me. After resolving all the trouble, Su Rushue ran over to me, and asked with concern if I was hurt. I gave her a slight smile. Just some minor scratches. Yi Fan beside us couldn't help but sigh. As expected, you're very strong. At this moment, I also noticed Yi Fan in the distance, and asked about the little snake on his shoulder. He smiled and explained to me that it was just an ordinary spirit beast, but I knew that it was the giant python from that cave. No wonder he's the protagonist. His luck truly defies the heavens. He then asked about the little chick on my shoulder. I explained that it's called Chicken Too Beautiful. It's just an ordinary little chick. After saying that, I grabbed the chick and squeezed it hard a couple of times. It's still pretty good as a stress reliever. 3 days later, I had completely recovered to my peak condition. At the same time, I demanded my reward from the system. After hearing that, the system obediently handed over the reward. The first part of the ancient sacred body cultivation method. Introduction to some cultivation methods. Whether the host accepts the transmission of the cultivation method, it has been detected that your ancient sacred body still has room for improvement. Would you like to take this opportunity to break through? Hearing this, I nodded. However, it was different from what I had imagined. The breakthrough of the sacred body was completely chaotic. I demand every bit of nourishment from your body. Even with my strong foundation, I have to stop. Then, I throw the prepared elixir into my mouth. Fortunately, I had enough supplies this time. Otherwise, I might have been the first unlucky soul to be dragged to death by a sacred body due to insufficient energy. Then, I look at the stone mirror that has been repaired. System, do you know how to use this thing? The system tells me this thing is at least a quasi-emperor grade artifact. It currently has 2 functions. One function is to suppress and slow down enemy movements through a domain, or even directly immobilize them. The second function is communication through consuming spirit stones. Seeing this, I directly took out a spirit stone and placed it on it. Energy, the mirror has revealed a non-divine origin stone. Because my sequence is ahead, energy, please prepare the light jade war god's origin stone. If you want to open it, it will consume a large amount of energy. Starry Sky Plaza. If you want to activate the teleport function, it will consume a large amount of energy. Secret Land, Private Trading Space, Coliseum Lock, Training Treasure Lock, and several functions like the Myriad Races Battlefield. Others are yet to be unlocked. I directly clicked on the chat function. With Shui, I've come to chat room number 10 to discuss the price. However, the races inside and the chat content all left me incredibly puzzled. Moreover, the primordial chaos text is a public enemy. Just then, Tao Tian's appearance interrupted my thoughts. A moment later, Tao Tian and I started grilling in the yard. Ji Tai cursed and flipped Tao Tian the middle finger. Don't touch me, you bitch. Watch out, I'll eat you, old man. In response to his threat, Tao Tian actually started laughing. Then he ignored Ji Tai and asked me, where did you find such an interesting pet? I tossed him aside. I asked him why he came looking for me. Tao Tian was a little shy. Senior brother, when you have time, you can tell my younger sisters about your experiences in the secret realm. After saying that, he placed a small pouch on my chest. This is Tao Tian's gift. Please accept this, senior brother. After saying this, he hurriedly left again, just like last time. I picked up the purse and sighed. Junior sister Tao Tian is thoughtful, but compared to our master, it's still a little lacking. Then, I looked at Ji Taimei with ill intentions. You still haven't told me, what exactly are you, and why would I be with Shi Jing? Ji Taimei patted his head, explaining that he should be a divine crow. He didn't know anything else. Then he ordered me to quickly kowtow and apologize to him. At the same time, he informed me that there was previously a woman named Hua Luofei who had looked for me, saying to meet in 3 days. Every time I go to find Qi Mengdai for dual cultivation, she always refuses my request with various excuses. But this time, she was extremely proactive. She even left me with a smile when I was about to leave. That night, because of the breakthrough to the sacred body, I experienced immense exhaustion. So, in order to replenish the lost energy, I had no choice but to seek Qi Mengdai's help. Suddenly, Qi Mengdai woke up with a start from her sleep. It was clear that she was very surprised by my sudden visit. Although she knew the purpose of my visit here, she still sternly questioned me about what I was doing visiting her in the middle of the night. As I undressed, I smiled at her and said, "What else would I come for, master?" A look of panic flashed across Qi Mengdai's face. The next second, I appeared by her side, gently by his side. Oh, it was different from before. In the face of my sweet words, Qi Mengdai did not resist this time. It went on like this for a full 6 hours. My cultivation talent increased at a rate of 200 per hour, rising wildly. It didn't stop until it reached 2214. Under my cultivation, Qi Mengdai trembled uncontrollably. I quickly dressed myself. Then I turned and walked out the door. As the door closed, a cunning gleam unexpectedly flashed across Qi Mengdai's cold face. Meanwhile, as soon as I went out, I painfully clutched my lower back. I deeply regret not sealing his cultivation. The system couldn't help but jump out and mock me. Really embarrassing for a transmigrator. I ignored it. Instead, I recalled the moments spent with my master today. In the past, he would always strongly resist. But today, he was incredibly cooperative. 3 days later, I arrived at the place I had arranged to meet Tai Suzy. These past 3 days, no matter when I went to find master, he was extremely cooperative. Although I didn't understand, my cultivation aptitude has greatly improved. And now, the most important thing is to figure out why he sought me out. And also to test him. You can't always force things like this. At that moment, a greedy little spirit rat ran over. But when it met my cold, indifferent gaze, the spirit rat immediately fainted. Disguised as Elder Hua, Tai Suzy walked over. She scolded me for being too fierce. I smiled and explained that I was just teasing it. It's just that he's too timid. He naturally sat next to me. He noticed the look in my eyes. He smiled and asked me why I was looking at him like that. I suddenly asked him, "Sister Hua is so beautiful. There must be a lot of people chasing you, right?" Upon hearing my words, Sister Hua gave a light smile. As a female cultivator's cultivation improves, her appearance returns to its natural state, becoming increasingly beautiful. However, my appearance isn't remarkable. Naturally, no one pursues me. I turned around. It's just that they have poor taste. In my eyes, my sister is extremely beautiful. Perhaps only this verse of poetry is worthy of her. Clouds resemble garments, flowers resemble beauty. Spring breeze brushes the railing, dew is thick with fragrance. If not for the rosy clouds seen atop the mountain, I would encounter you under the bright moon of Taisu. Sister Hua, I'm a little surprised. I didn't expect you to be able to compose poetry, but this poem is a good one. I certainly don't look as beautiful as the lines in it. I didn't respond to him, but instead turned and looked at him meaningfully. Sister Hua, how about letting me pursue you? Sister Hua cleverly dodged the question, turning her head and softly laughing. Do you know how old I am? You're saying you want to pursue me. I blurted out, it's really big, when I looked at him. Sister Hua quickly covered her chest. You really deserve a beating. I didn't expect you to be a lecher, but I was just sincerely telling him. It's a man's right to appreciate a woman's beauty. What's more, age is not an issue. As the saying goes, a woman 3 years older is a treasure. A woman, after 3,000 years, ascends to the ranks of immortals. If I were to marry you, how far away would achieving immortality be? Sister Hua giggled. Are you hitting on me? I smiled and offered her a chicken leg. He didn't mention the little incident again. Instead, he commented that my cooking was quite good. Seeing that things were going well, I took out the gourd I had prepared. Good sister, won't you drink with me? Finally, after my persistent coaxing, he, who had originally planned to refuse, relented. As cup after cup of the divine brew went down, the atmosphere between us became increasingly subtle. I watched as his cheeks slowly flushed. I also noticed something was wrong. Sister Hua, you wouldn't be drunk, would you? Sister Hua didn't notice her abnormality at all. Instead, she revealed that I was about to become a saint's son. I even asked her if the Saint Sun's power was very great. She told me it was at least greater than that of Elder Zibao. I took the opportunity to put my arm around her waist. Then I'll go and ask the Saint Lord, how about letting her marry me? I became the highly esteemed Saint Sun after only 3 years in the sect. This news instantly exploded throughout the entire sacred land. Many people were dissatisfied with me. But Xiao Yifeng, a fellow true disciple, was raging with fury in his cave dwelling. I'm still scheming and fighting for the position of chief true disciple of Yinxia Peak. Why could he become the Saint Sun so silently? Chu Xiu, just you wait. I'll make you pay. On the other hand, I wandered aimlessly within the sacred grounds. My purpose was to gather more intelligence. Sure enough, as I passed a pavilion, I overheard the information I sought. The Endless Sword Domain, the Jiang family, and the Tai Yi Sacred Ground. Various precious Dao bodies are appearing frequently. It is said that the Saint Sun of the Tai Yi Holy Land possesses the invincible Tai Yi Dao body. The woman in red is somewhat worried. I wonder if Saint Sun Chu Xiu can withstand these geniuses. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. But because of this, I obtained the information I wanted. It seems that this Saint Sun grand ceremony will not be so peaceful. Speaking of which, I truly have a connection with that boundless sword domain. I remember 20 years ago, their sacred son and sacred daughter were also a brother and sister. The brother's name was Feng Qingyang. He was arrogant, a fool who thought himself invincible under the heavens. He once looked down on my origins as a loose cultivator. He cursed me as someone from the demonic path. He blocked me from entering the Shihuang Tower. In the end, I killed him by the West Lake in Zhongzhou. His sister, Feng Yaoxi, also sought revenge for her brother. She chased me to Dongzhou, but in the end, she was also killed by me. To this day, I still remember the resentful and unwilling look in his eyes. Before I self-destructed, the ones who chased me the most brutally were also the lunatics from the Endless Sword Domain. I believe those coming to trouble me this time are probably the saints and saintesses of this generation. After that, I arrived at the sect's scripture pavilion. The golden 5 elements formation at the entrance surprised me a bit. Even a powerful saint-level expert who forcefully breaks through this formation would undoubtedly die. Even a saint king trapped within would need to expend considerable effort to escape unscathed. However, my words were immediately refuted. This formation, inherited from the emperor-level saint king, would cause injury even to those who enter it. The person who arrived was Su Jin, the guardian elder of the scripture pavilion. Su Jin. I respectfully bowed to him. I also briefly explained the purpose of my visit. Su Jin nodded. Then she motioned for me to follow her. As I watched her back, I couldn't help but marvel. Beautiful women can be found everywhere in the Taizu sacred land. After entering, I was briefly stunned by the scene in front of me. I looked down at the notice board by the door. It listed various prohibitions for those entering. After reading it, I went straight to the 7th floor. Unexpectedly, I ran into Yifan, who was also here. He was holding a book, hoping Elder Sujin would agree to let him take it. But he was refused because he didn't have enough contribution points. I greeted the dejected Yifan. He was somewhat surprised. Then he quickly asked if he could borrow some contribution points from me. He wanted to take that book away. I refused him, saying that I also needed to exchange for ancient books. Yifan didn't mind. He quickly said he would borrow from someone else. His urgent look made me a little concerned. Could it be that you found something good again? I approached Elder Sujin. I saw the book he hadn't taken with him, so I asked him how many contribution points it would take to take the body refining technique. He glanced up at me. He told me it would take 50,000, but if you want to see it, just don't take it away. I scratched my head, feeling a little embarrassed. This isn't very good. But he directly picked up the body tempering technique, and personally handed it to me. Rules are dead, but people are alive. Take it quickly. After that, I found a quiet place. But I looked left and right, and didn't find anything special. As I was browsing through the contents, I found one page that was quite unusual. However, Yifan hadn't opened it. How did he discover it then? Finally, I cut open that unusual page. It was actually celestial silkworm thread. It is said that this thing has been immortal for hundreds of thousands of years. Now, it's almost never seen anymore. Looks like I've snatched away his opportunity again. But the information recorded on it must be extraordinary. As expected, following the protagonist, one can always find treasure. The cold and aloof master seems to let her rebellious disciple do whatever he wants on the surface. But privately, she wishes she could stab the bastard disciple to death. However, this time, she got a bit too carried away with her venting. I directly broke down the door and caught her on the spot. Then I pretended not to know and asked what Master was doing. But Master, like a child caught in the act, dared not speak. In the end, I forced Master to greet me with a sweep of the couch. I punished her for a full 2.5 hours before leaving. Meanwhile, over at Yifan's side, he finally discovered the great gift I had carefully prepared for him, although it was a treasure map. But he was warned against going alone, so Yi Fan contacted his senior brother, Jian Lingyun. Together, they arrived at the ancient cave described in the Tianyuan silk records. Yi Fan thought that his powerful senior brother would definitely be able to obtain the treasure. Besides, after splitting the treasure, he would owe him a favor. Jian Lingyun was also very grateful to his junior brother Yi Fan. He patted Yi Fan on the shoulder, indicating that he remembered this favor. At this moment, he was thinking, so what if Chu Xiu is about to become the Saint Sun? As long as I get the treasure, I can step on him again. However, as the two of them ventured deeper into the ancient cave, they began to sense something was wrong. The place was filled with a sinister energy, not at all like a treasure-filled place. It wasn't until later that strange screams echoed from within the cave. Then, a hand reached out. Yefan crawled out of the cave with a confused expression. This isn't a treasure site at all. It was clearly a dead end. If it weren't for him having a spatial escape talisman, he would have surely died in there with senior brother Lingyun. Thinking about how Yi Fan trampled the silkworm's silk underfoot, he can take his stupid treasure map and go to hell. Little did he know, this so-called treasure map was actually something I fabricated. And I had already anticipated that Yi Fan and Jian Lingyun were very close. I will surely invite you to go to the 10,000 Great Mountains together. Although Yi Fan, who has great fortune, is hard to kill, the same cannot be said for Jian Lingyun. As for the opportunity recorded by the heavenly source silkworm, it was originally the human emperor scripture imprinted by a supreme expert. This is a divine-level martial art. When cultivated to the deepest level, one can break all laws with a single punch. When my cultivation is sufficient, this will allow me to integrate it into the all things stop sword technique. By then, I will be invincible. Soon after, the news of Jian Lingyun's death reached Jinsha Peak. Xiao Yifeng learned that the Anti-Chu alliance had lost a powerful general. At that moment, I appeared before them with Ji Taimei. Seeing this, Xiao Yifeng quickly shared some good news with me. Jian Lingyun Yi Fan died in the Great Formation while searching for treasure. Hearing this, I looked regretful. They were all disciples of the sacred land. But Xiao Yifeng thought I was very hypocritical. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Ji Taimei spoke sarcastically. Your junior brother is probably weak and effeminate. Xiao Yifeng made a gesture with a refined hand and said, which chicken dares to clamor in front of me? Then he shot the silver needles hidden in his hand towards Ji Taimei. The cowardly Ji Taimei covered his head in fright. However, the silver needle was blocked by me and shot back. This took Xiao Yifeng, who originally wanted to embarrass me, by surprise. I then glared at Xiao Yifeng and said fiercely, Junior brother Yi, do you think I'm easy to bully? You shoot and kill my spiritual pet in front of me? Seeing that the two senior brothers were about to argue and get physical, junior sister Ren Hongying quickly stepped in to mediate. In the end, Xiao Yifeng shrugged his shoulders. I wouldn't go after a chicken. Just then, I received a voice transmission from my master. Disobedient disciple, come to my cave. Junior brothers and sisters, master has summoned me. Excuse me, senior brother, I won't be able to join you. Then I went to master's cave. Master summoned me, wondering what it was about. Master took out a black and gold treasure robe, asking me to wear it when I ascend the heavenly ladder later. I accepted the treasure robe master gave me, and asked master, are you worried about your disciple? Master said with a proud and arrogant look, don't flatter yourself. I'm just worried that if you die, you'll bring shame to my Yinsha Peak. Next second, with a quick move, I found myself right beside her. I gently wrapped my right hand around the master's slim waist. Then I placed my left hand in a place that brought a sense of tranquility. Thank you, master, for the clothes. I will definitely repay you well, master. What should I do if both the master and junior sister fall in love with senior brother? And, master, you and senior brother have already been husband and wife for some time. It happened one day. The junior disciple told her master that she liked her senior brother. She wanted her master's approval to become a Taoist couple with her senior brother. The master, unwilling to reveal the truth, thought of a plan. He secretly told the junior disciple that her senior brother wasn't a good person, but the junior disciple only felt that her master was being unreasonable. To prevent this marriage, he was actually slandering her senior brother. It turned out that to allow his rebellious disciple to successfully become the Holy Son, a woman had first given him a black gold robe. Then, he took out another scroll. It recorded the top-tier sacred lands, and the extraordinary geniuses ranked at the top of the hidden dragon list. This time, they planned to challenge and defeat the rebellious disciple, to assert their dominance and restore Tai Su's prestige. So, I took the scroll and thanked my master for his care. But my master, wearing a fox mask, looked cold and told me to leave. At this moment, the protagonist of the Tai Su Peak Saint Sun ceremony had yet to arrive. However, the legendary heavenly ladder has already been opened. The next second, a flying boat appeared above the ceremony. Two figures, one black and one white, stood inside. The gazes of the crowd below were drawn to the white figure. They exclaimed, worthy of the heavenly fragrance body. Truly beautiful. However, some still focused their attention on me. The Jiang clan ancestor told Jiang Zhou, "That is your challenger." The patriarch of Tai's sacred land couldn't help but stroke his beard and frown. I observe this young man, he seems to be a sign of early death. How is he still alive? His disciple, Zhou Yi, quickly advised his Shu to stop. If you keep talking, you might end up staying in Tai Su's sacred land. The fourth sword master of the infinite sword domain carefully examined my appearance. His disciple, Long Qingfeng, reassured his master. Even if he really is the old devil Chu, I will still cut him down. Lastly, the family in the southern region is the Shengguan family. With his natural divine eyes, Shengguan Hao exuded a sharp aura. He told his grandfather behind him that he would surely ascend the heavenly ladder. As for the high-ranking officials overseeing the Saint's Sun ceremony at the Taizu Holy Land, it was none other than Tianqing, the lord of Tianqing Peak, who had long been devoted to his master. The Saint's Sun ceremony officially began. The Saint's Sun is invited to cross the Heart Bridge and ascend the heavenly ladder. The Holy Master, Taizu Zi, soared into the sky. In an instant, he set up the Heart Bridge leading to the heavenly ladder. The bridge of self-examination, a heart free from guilt, directly points to the way of the heart. If the Holy Sun harbors longing for the Holy Land, he will fall off the bridge. If the Holy Sun's heart is unstable and is tempted by worldly distractions, then even on the bridge of self-examination, he will struggle to take a single step. As I walk on the bridge, it feels like I've returned to the past. I was being pulled away by a girl in a red dress, running for our lives. Behind us, a group of people armed with weapons and torches were chasing us. In the end, Lu Hongyi led me to a hiding place, escaping the pursuers. It was at this moment that I wanted to become a powerful person stronger than anyone else. That way, Hongyi and I would no longer be insulted or bullied. Then, Lu Hongyi reached out and gently placed her hand on my face. She softly said, "I will always be with you." The scene flashed by. When Lu Hongyi appeared again, she seemed like a different person. She scolded me for being too ruthless and cold-hearted. Why did you let her leave for the Crimson Dust Sword sect? She only wanted to die with me. But these memories only exist in my mind. I stood motionless on the questioning heart bridge. The surrounding disciples watching sneered. He won't even be able to pass the questioning heart bridge, will he? My master and junior sister on the viewing platform saw me remain motionless, and were very nervous and worried that I wouldn't be able to pass the questioning heart bridge. However, at that moment, I was still immersed in memories. Lu Hongyi reluctantly held my hand. She told me to remember to pick her up, that she would wait for me. The next moment, my eyes, which had been tightly closed, suddenly opened. I never expected that 50 years had passed since I last parted with Hongyi. I must quickly improve my strength to go pick up this girl. Then, I quickly walked to the other side of the bridge with large strides. The people in the stands were curious to see my speed. They wondered how unshakable my Tao heart must be. And since my Tao heart is so resilient, what could possibly make me stop and stay at the bridge for a quarter of an hour? On the other side, my master was also thinking to himself, this rebellious disciple cannot be held back by worldly ties. He must have been thinking of his deceased parents just now. And little junior sister Tao Tian was very excited to see my speed. Little hand dog barked, "Go, senior brother. Go, senior brother." At this time, the master asked with a touch of jealousy, "Tao Tian, do you like Chu Xiu?" Little junior sister Tao Tian was momentarily stunned by the master's question. Then, blushing, she told her master, "Master, I want to become Tao companions with senior brother." Master didn't hesitate for a second before directly refusing. This master does not agree to this marriage. I'm unmarried, and senior brother is unmarried. Why wouldn't master agree? No means no. You must obey master. Then master used a sound transmission technique to let Tao Tian hear what he wanted to say alone. Actually, your senior brother isn't a good person. Don't be fooled by him. Stay away from him. But Tao Tian didn't believe her master's words. Instead, she felt that her master was trying to prevent their marriage, and was even willing to smear her senior brother's character. What should the master and the junior sister do when they both fall in love with the senior brother? And the master already had a consummated marriage with the senior brother. One day, the junior sister confessed her feelings for the senior brother to her master. She wants the master to approve of her becoming a Tao partner with senior brother. The master, who can't reveal the truth, came up with a plan. Privately, she told junior sister that your senior brother is not a good person. But junior sister thought the master was being unreasonable. To stop the marriage, she actually smeared senior brother's name. In order to help the rebellious disciple become the Holy Sun smoothly, the woman first gave him a black and gold treasure robe. Then she took out a scroll. It records the top sacred places, and the unparalleled geniuses ranked at the top of the hidden dragon list. This time, they are preparing to challenge and defeat the rebellious disciple, in order to showcase their power and enhance Tai Su's prestige. so I took the scroll and thanked my master for his affection. But my master, wearing a fox mask, looked cold and told me to leave quickly. At this moment, the protagonist of the Tai Su Peak Holy Sun ceremony had yet to arrive, but the legendary heavenly ladder had already opened. The next moment, a flying boat appeared above the grand ceremony. Standing on it were two figures, one black and one white. Everyone's gaze below was drawn to the two figures. They sighed, truly worthy of the heavenly fragrance body, so beautiful. However, some people still directed their light towards me. The ancestor of the Jiang family told Jiang Zhou, "That is your challenger." On the other side, the ancestor of the Tai Holy Land couldn't help but stroke his beard, frowning. I observed that this child is a sign of an early death. How is he still alive? The disciple beside me, Zhou Yi, quickly advised his master to stop. If you continue, you might end up staying at the Taizu's sacred land. The fourth sword master of the endless sword domain carefully examined my body. His disciple, Long Qinfeng, reassured his master. Even if he truly is the old demon Chu, I will still slay him. The last one is from the south region, the Shangguan family. Shangguan Hao, with his innate divine eyes, exuded an aura of sharpness. Tell grandpa behind me that he will surely ascend the heavenly ladder. As for the high-ranking officials presiding over the Saint Sun ceremony, it is the peak master of heavenly punishment peak, Tian Xing, who has long been devoted to seeking the guidance of the master. The Saint Sun ceremony officially begins. Please, Saint Sun, cross the bridge of heart and ascend the heavenly ladder. The Holy Lord, Tai Suzi, rose into the air. In an instant, a bridge of heart leading to the heavenly ladder was formed. The bridge of heart, with a clear conscience, directly points to the Tao heart. If the Holy Sun yearns for the Holy Land, he will fall off the bridge. If the Holy Sun's mind is unstable and he is distracted by the mundane world, then he will be unable to make any progress on the bridge of reflection. Walking on the bridge, it felt as though I had returned to the past. I was being pulled away by a girl in a red dress, running for our lives. Behind us were a group of people chasing us with weapons and torches. In the end, Lu Hongyi led me to hide and we escaped the pursuers. It was at this moment, I want to become a stronger person than anyone else. That way, Hongyi and I will no longer be insulted or bullied. Then, Lu Hongyi reached out and gently placed her hand on my face. She softly said, "I will always stay by your side." The scene flashed by. When Lu Hongyi appeared again, she seemed like a completely different person. She was angry, accusing me of being too heartless and cold. Why did I have to make her leave for the Red Dust Sword sect? She only wanted to die with me. But these memories only exist in my head. I stood frozen on the questioning heart bridge. The onlookers among the disciples behind me laughed. He won't even be able to cross the questioning heart bridge, will he? My master and younger sister on the viewing platform saw me standing still for so long, and were very nervous and worried that I wouldn't be able to cross the questioning heart bridge. However, I was still immersed in my memories. Lu Hongyi reluctantly held my hand. She told me to remember to pick her up, that she would wait for me. The next second, my eyes, which had been tightly shut, suddenly opened. I didn't expect that 50 years had passed since parting with Hongyi. I must quickly improve my strength to pick up this girl. Then, I quickly walked toward the other side of the bridge with large strides. The people on the stands were curious to see how fast I was moving. How unbreakable must his Tao heart be? And since his Tao heart is this resolute, what could have made him stop at the bridge for a quarter of an hour without moving? On the other side, the master also thought to himself, this rebellious disciple couldn't possibly be swayed by worldly concerns. He must have been thinking of his deceased parents just now. And little junior sister Tao Tian, seeing how fast I was very excited. She raised her small hand and shouted joyfully, "Come on, senior brother." At this moment, the master asked with a hint of jealousy, "Tao Tian, do you like Chu Xiu?" Tao Tian, the junior sister, was momentarily stunned by the master's question. Then, blushing, she told her master, "Master, I want to become Tao companions with senior brother." The master didn't hesitate for a second and directly refused. "I do not agree with this marriage. I'm not married, and my senior brother isn't married either. What right do you have to object? No means no. You must listen to me, your master." Then the master cast a sound transmission spell. She let only Tao Tian hear what she wanted to say. "Actually, your senior brother isn't a good person. Don't be fooled by him. Stay away from him." Keto Ocean didn't believe what her master said. Instead, she thought her master was trying to stop their marriage, and was even willing to smear her senior brother's character. She is a renowned goddess on the continent, yet her disciples are all rebellious. The senior brother, Chu Xiu, defied his master and treated her as a cauldron, diligently cultivating every day just to obtain her cultivation aptitude. The junior sister, Keto Ocean, was originally a well-behaved girl, but recently, she's fallen in love with her senior brother and wants to become his Taoist partner. Even if Qi Mengdai told her that Chu Xiu is not a good person, it still couldn't change Chu Xiu's position in her heart. This made Chi Mengdai sigh at how the world has become. Why is it that even disciples don't believe her when she speaks the truth? But Tao Tian felt there was some misunderstanding between the senior brother and the master. After all, in the sacred land, both elders and disciples praise the senior brother. When mentioning the senior brother, everyone gives him a thumbs up, praising him for being great, glorious, and righteous. Chi Mengdai told Tao Tian that it was all an act, and he was very poisonous. Then she told Tao Tian not to argue, that they could never become Tao partners. The master would never agree to their marriage. Upon hearing this, Tao Tian could no longer stay seated. He angrily scolded his master for taking such ruthless action. At the same time, I had already crossed the heart-questioning bridge. Including the pause at the beginning, it took less than half a fragrant incense. The disciples watching the ceremony were amazed, saying, "Senior brother Chu is really strong. He must have broken the record." Even Master Qianqing praised, "Meng Dai, your disciple is impressive. His Tao heart is as solid as a rock. I wonder how you usually teach him." In an instant, Master Chi Mengdai felt offended. She could only stammer a reply, "I suppose he's just highly perceptive." On the other side, the real challenge I was facing was ahead, climbing this endless ladder that stretched to the horizon. At this moment, the host, Master Qianqing, stepped forward. "Let all those who challenge the Holy Sun to ascend the heavenly ladder come forth." The next second, the top young geniuses representing the major sects and prominent families appeared behind me, surrounding me. It seems that quite a few people want to challenge me. To the far left should be the long siblings from the Endless Sword domain. The one with the rat tail braid should be Jiang Zhou, the God King body. This person looks taciturn and quite uninteresting. The man in the robe behind me greets me. He says he's just here for a casual look. Well, he's polite, so I'll go easy on him. The last person took an early fighting stance. Seeing that I noticed him, he looked like he couldn't wait to defeat me. But I don't take him seriously. He clearly has no real strength, so there's nothing to fear. However, at this point, someone couldn't wait any longer. The long siblings from the Endless Sword domain took the lead and charged up the ladder. The others were not willing to fall behind. Each used their own methods, striving toward the highest point. Meanwhile, I just stood quietly in place, watching these remarkable geniuses display their skills. But in the end, Shang Wanhao said that he was in a hurry and wanted to finish quickly. And he said he would let me have a few moves. Hearing this, the disciples of the Taizu's sacred land were very angry. They felt that he was getting arrogant and dared to underestimate us on our own turf. "Wait for death," they muttered about the Holy Sun. On the other side, after receiving the definite answer, Shang Wanhao took out his fan weapon and asked me to draw mine as well. However, I had no intention of drawing a weapon. Instead, I immediately darted forward like lightning. In the next second, I gripped Shang Wanhao's throat tightly. I asked him if he still wanted to step on me to get ahead, if he still dared to act so arrogant. By this time, Shang Wanhao had lost his arrogant demeanor. Then I kicked him in the face, and he looked like a pig's head. Meanwhile, the Taisu Saint Master silently pinched hand seals, using spiritual energy, to bind the defeated Shang Wanhao. Then the Saint Master changed hand seals, saying the word retrieve. Shang Wanhao was pulled out and thrown before my grandfather. At this point, the Holy Lord loudly warned all the sects and families present. The authority of Taizu cannot be insulted. Those who offend Taizu will be expelled. Then the Holy Lord looked at me and announced, "The Holy Sun continues to ascend the heavenly ladder." I wanted to vent for the Holy Lord's sister, but I didn't expect that upward Master Hao, this pretty boy, was so fragile. After continuing to climb the heavenly ladder for a while, the twin sword body siblings from the Endless Sword domain stood guard, waiting. Unlike the previous Shang Wanhao, they are the top of the hidden dragon ranking. Many people doubt whether I can defeat these siblings. The man shares the same name as the deceased demon lord. So the two siblings came to the mountain gate with swords, intent on eliminating the demon. But you should know, I am the holy son of the Tai Su Holy Land. Today marks the grand ceremony for my official appointment as Holy Son. Yet, the twin swords of the Endless Sword domain showed no hesitation. They directly used the legendary moon-chasing, snow-drifting sword. Although each of the two swords alone is just a top-tier sword artifact, when combined, their power reaches the immortal grade. With the strength of my current ancient sacred body, if I were to forcefully engage in close combat with them, I would definitely get injured. So, I activated the 9-character secret, the Xing character secret. First, I increased my movement speed and agility. Then, I summoned a heavy sword that matched my sword intent. With the might of the heavy sword, I forced my way to take on both without falling behind. Shuiyue. Then, using the advantage of the heavy sword's power, he directly knocked his younger sister, Long Shuiyue, into the air. Seeing this, her brother, Long Qingfeng, hurriedly followed up, attempting to single-handedly stop the heavy sword's blade. But in the end, he could only dodge backward. As for the heavy sword, it struck the ground, creating waves of force. Safe now, Long Qingfeng gasped for breath, still shaken. Yet, he stubbornly insisted that I die by their swords. But just then, Long Shuiyue attacked again with her sword. This strike truly had a fierce and menacing air. However, the flaw was still too obvious. I used the hilt of my sword to strike her lower abdomen, breaking her attack and sending her flying backward. Seeing this, Long Qingfeng quickly helped his injured sister up. Then he took out a quick-acting hemostatic pill and had her take it. But do you two still have time for medicine and healing now? Could it be that they treat me like air? I never thought they would actually ignore the pose I struck. But they're still thinking about dying, aren't they? The next second, a painting unfurled above their heads. Then, within the painting's range, countless spirit swords descended. So this is the vision of the Dragon Twins' dual sword body, the Qinlan sword song. The disciples of Tai Su Holy Land in the audience couldn't help but worry, thinking that I might be defeated under this strange phenomenon. However, I didn't retreat in the face of the phenomenon, because I am the primordial sacred body, specifically countering all kinds of strange phenomena. Once the green lotus appears, everything will cease. In an instant, the Qinlan sword song phenomenon exploded. The resulting shockwave directly sent Long Shuiyue flying. The drastic changes happening in an instant shocked the audience. They were curious about the strange phenomenon above my head. The experienced fourth sword master recognized that I was the ancient saint body. He questioned why such a physique could still cultivate. Under the Chaos Seed's blue lotus manifestation, the Long family siblings couldn't resist. They could only use the sheepskin drum to temporarily defend. So Long Qingfeng told his sister Long Shuiyue to leave quickly. However, Long Shuiyue was unwilling to let her brother face it alone. Hearing that, I scoffed. Think you can leave? Not without my say-so. None of you are leaving. Then I clenched my fists and charged. Since Long Qingfeng is too difficult to handle, I'll deal with Long Shuiyue first. Emperor's Fist. A fist that breaks all laws. With all my might. Take this punch. One punch sent Long Shuiyue reeling, spitting blood. On the other side, seeing this, Long Qingfeng's eyes widened in fury. He charged forward, desperate to save his sister. I could only meet him with a kick, sending him flying. The Tai Su Holy Land disciples in the audience were ecstatic. What good is the twin sword's body? It was still crushed by our holy sun. Yi Fan sighed and said, Brother Chu Xiu's punch was truly powerful. Though, why does it feel like something important was lost? Meanwhile, the fourth sword master of the endless sword domain approached Master Qi Mengdai. He blamed her for allowing her disciples to act recklessly. Master, however, responded, they've been shouting about wanting to kill Chu Xiu. And now that I've only crippled their cultivation, you're not happy. The younger disciple, Tao Tian, also stood on the side of the master this time. She questioned how the infinite sword domain could be so overbearing, bullying us with no one to stand up for Tai Su. At that moment, Chu Xiaoran, the junior sister, also appeared. Fourth sword master, your two disciples are highly talented. With more time to cultivate, they will likely recover most of their strength. Then, the master can let them return to observe the ceremony if there's nothing else. Outnumbered, the fourth sword master snorted and turned to leave. At this time, Chu Xiaoran praised her junior sister, Tao Tian, saying, your senior brother is amazing. Tao Tian, knowing she's a rival, told her to stay away from her senior brother. But Chu Xiaoran said she likes powerful men. Like Chu Xiu, such an outstanding and powerful man, who is destined to have many women, and I don't mind being one of them. Master Qi Mengdai behind her appeared calm on the surface. I was cursing in my heart, wondering how this rebellious disciple had so many admirers. I never expected that the supreme being of the demon race would be a foodie. She came to challenge the holy son of Tai Su just for a few pounds of meat. Yet, despite her invincible physical body, she couldn't gain the upper hand. She ended up being taken advantage of by the bean sprout in her eyes. Before this, I, Bao Jing, defeated the geniuses of the endless sword domain. I crippled the cultivation of the Long siblings, the dual sword body of the Long family. As a result, the fourth sword master of the endless sword domain came to find my master, Qi Mengdai. She questioned why she allowed her disciples to act recklessly. At this moment, Chu Xiaoran also appeared and joined the battle. The fourth sword master was no match for the three women and was defeated. But the junior disciple didn't want to see Chu Xiaoran, her rival in love. She told her to stay away from her senior brother, Chu Xiu. Master Qi Mengdai had no choice but to speak up and ask Tao Tian to stop being rude. So, the junior disciple looked at her master pitifully and said no more. However, privately, master hated Chu Xiu, the rebellious disciple, and wished she could crush him. You've caused trouble with debts everywhere and now you want me to help you resolve it. And you're saying this on top of the time gate? I rubbed my itchy nose, feeling like someone was cursing me. But now's not the time to dwell on that. I should think about who to challenge next. The system suggests I go kill the Jiang family's divine king body fool. Well, it depends on whether he's still willing to duel with me. Sensing the murderous intent behind me, Jiang Zhou turned around. I secretly thought to myself that Chu Xiu is too dangerous and should not be confronted. And I could tell that he wasn't too eager to fight with me either. I can't be the one to cause trouble in front of everyone. So, I shifted my gaze to the carefree Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi quickly turned around and transmitted a message, "Brother Chu, please spare me." Then I transmitted back, "Brother Zhou, you've misunderstood. I don't like to fight and kill. Brother Chu is truly a man of character. I, Zhou, feel deeply ashamed. Among the five of us, Zhou Yi is the strongest, followed by the God King body, Jiang Zhou. These two are difficult to deal with, but it's more important to ascend the heavenly ladder. On the other side, at the Taisu Holy Land, where the Holy Master Taisuzi is, seemed to sense something unusual. Then, looking into the distance, she said, "We have guests attending the Holy Sun ceremony." A giant demon emerged from the mountains. A golden ape. "Why did you come uninvited?" The golden ape, the Yaozuan, shyly showed his large teeth. "Haha, Taisuzi, your insight remains so sharp. As the Yaozuan of the Tianyao domain, coming alone to the human territory, aren't you afraid you won't be able to leave? This one dares to come." However, the golden ape fearlessly shows he is not afraid. "Let's make a bet. This one will allow a junior to ascend the heavenly ladder. If she defeats the Saint Sun, you will tell this one your true self." The Holy Lord also proposed the conditions for the package. They are the Bodhi divine flower, the Holy Buddha divine fruit, and a rare treasure of heaven and earth. On the other side, when the master heard about these rare treasures, he immediately realized that all of them were things I needed for cultivation. The demon lord, the golden ape, muttered with a sigh, "What a big appetite." He suggested letting the butterfly emperor's daughter go and defeat the Taizu Holy Sun. "As long as she defeats the Taizu Holy Sun on the heavenly ladder, I'll treat you to 3 days and nights of great sage wild beast meat." By now, I've reached over 3,000 levels of the heavenly ladder. I can already clearly feel the pressure on my body. If I were to ascend to the 9,999th level of the heavenly ladder, and then use the system to break through the primordial saint body, what would happen? Just then, Empress Butterfly appeared behind us, asking who the Tai Su Saint Sun was. Zhou Yi, the slippery one, immediately sold me out. Seeing the Butterfly Empress looking like she's here for revenge, Zhou Yi couldn't help but wonder what had happened between us. Seeing that she was coming for me, I also soared into the sky. On the other side, the Butterfly Empress had already swung the Haotian hammer. She wanted to quickly defeat me and then go home to eat meat. How could I dare to take this hammer coming from above? I quickly dodged to the side to avoid the attack. I didn't expect that this blow would have such tremendous power. How could her physical body be so powerful? It wasn't until this moment that I realized who this person was. The Butterfly Empress of the Sky Demon Realm. It's rumored that her father is a great lord of the barbarian tribe, and her mother is the Butterfly Queen of the demon race. She was born extraordinary, possessing the Sky Demon Barbarian God body. She is one of the supreme figures of the younger generation in the demon race. During the battle, I seized the opportunity to grab her ankle. Then I threw her to the ground. However, the Butterfly Empress felt quite delighted. She sighed, praising the ancient sacred body as truly deserving of its reputation. Then she used an illusion to summon several shadows. She intended to use these shadows to trap me, but I didn't hesitate. I chose a direction and charged straight ahead. Unexpectedly, the Butterfly Empress's true body was in that direction. I almost suffocated in her vast embrace. The Butterfly Empress, who had been taken advantage of, was instantly enraged. With red eyes, she shouted, "Bean Sprout, how dare you take advantage of me?" Although I hurriedly explained that it was because I was too fast and couldn't stop in time, I was still met with a slap across the face. But the moment the slap landed, I collapsed straight to the ground. Taking the opportunity, I admired the Butterfly Empress's breathtaking view. While bleeding from my nose, I muttered, "So beautiful." Fuming with shame, the Butterfly Empress raised her hammer again, forcibly interrupting my view and telling me to shut up. It's decided. The Butterfly Empress has decided to make Chu Xiu her consort. She wants the Holy Son of the Taizu sacred land to follow her back to the heavenly demon realm. After being rejected, she actually knelt and begged the Taizu Sun to grant the marriage. It turns out the Butterfly Empress wanted the meat of the great Saint Savage Beast. She followed the Demon Lord Golden Ape to challenge the Taizu Holy Sun. But unexpectedly, during the battle, she was taken full advantage of. The embarrassed Butterfly Emperor uses the chaotic wind hammer technique, trying to hammer the human being Sprout to death. Tao Tian and Chu Shaoran in the stands looked on with worry, afraid I would fall at the hands of the Butterfly Emperor. And my master, watching me being battered, put himself in my shoes and wore a worried expression. But the next second, the Butterfly Emperor stopped attacking. He slightly parted his lips, making strange noises. In an instant, Master, Junior Sister, and I were all stunned. He shouted, "Pervert! So strong! Rebellious disciple!" It turns out that I found an opportunity to knock the butterfly empress to the ground. Then I kept attacking her weak points. "Because you're a woman, I've been patient, but you haven't fought back. But you're really pushing it too far." While fighting, the butterfly emperor suddenly convulsed. Her straight legs also became bent. Zhou Yi worried about the butterfly emperor's condition, while Jiang Zhou marveled at the strength of the ancient saint body. However, after being beaten severely, the butterfly emperor's face flushed. She pointed at me and said, "Bean Sprout, you're so fierce. This emperor has decided to take you as my empress. Come back to the demon realm with me and enjoy life." Such a shameless rival left the two junior sisters stunned. She dares to ask the holy son of Taizu Holy Land to go back to the demon realm with her. On the other side, Master Qi Mengdai appeared indifferent on the surface. But in reality, she was thinking about how to deal with her troublesome disciple. Seeing no response, the butterfly empress stood up and grabbed my hand, telling me that she had already chosen a name for the child and that I should go with her. The sly Zhou Yi quickly congratulated Brother Chu on his happy marriage. Even the fool, Jiang Zhou, said that Butterfly Empress is a good girl, but I simply withdrew my hand. I made it clear that I couldn't make this decision. I still need to continue ascending the heavenly ladder. The next second, the Butterfly Empress spread her wings and flew toward the stands. She kneeled before Tai Suzy, requesting a marriage decree. Even the demoness Tai Suzy had no words for this. He actually came to ask for a marriage proposal so frankly. Then Tai Suzy looked at the golden ape, who was having a headache beside him. "This junior of yours is quite audacious. He wants to take me, the Taisu Saint's son, back." Hearing this, the golden ape said it was all a misunderstanding. The butterfly emperor's daughter must have hit her head. "I'll take her back now." After saying this, the golden ape reached into the void with one hand. He urged the butterfly emperor's daughter to return with him. But the butterfly emperor's daughter, seized by the golden ape, was very reluctant. She hadn't yet asked what dowry was required to propose marriage to Taisu. Amidst the ridicule of the human cultivators, the humiliated butterfly emperor's daughter was forcibly taken away by the golden ape. At that moment, a bell rang nearby. Immediately afterwards, Uncle Tian Xing announced, "The Holy Sun Chu Xiu climbs the heavenly ladder, breaking records. Approved." The great ceremony begins. It turns out that while the farce was happening, I had already reached the heavenly ladder. The speed of body refinement along the way was even faster than the system's breakthrough. Everyone couldn't help but exclaim that the ancient holy body is invincible in physical form. In the same realm, I fear no one has a stronger spiritual sense than mine. When I returned from the top of the mountain to the halfway point, the two junior sisters rushed ahead to congratulate me. The reserved master, however, merely nodded and said, "Not bad." Then, she instructed me to go on stage to accept the saint's seal. However, before agreeing, I asked Master to wait for me. "I will visit Master later." Master Qi Mengdai did not refuse. "I just wonder what this rebellious disciple wants. He's proposing. Chu Xiu is proposing to the Saint Lord, Tai Suzy. He's asking the Saint Lord to bestow Elder Hua Luofei upon him. You see, Hua Luofei is actually Tai Suzy's incarnation." She approached Chu Xiu only to observe his character. So, faced with the saint's son's proposal, will Tai Suzy grant Chu Xiu his wish? It turns out that after I completed the ascension ritual, my master asked me to step up to receive the saint's mark. But when I reached the stage, the Holy Lord gave me two choices. One was that the sacred land would provide the resources needed for cultivation, and be protected by a great sage guardian. The future would be smooth and full of unlimited possibilities. The other was that the sacred land would not provide resources or guardians. What you want, you have to create and fight for yourself. This path's future is uncertain, but there are no limits to how far you can go. The two female disciples below immediately chose one without hesitation. The woman in black nearby remarked that they would never become strong. As for me, the first path has many benefits, but it's easy to expose yourself. Choosing the second path has fewer worries, but there are fewer resources. But lacking resources isn't a big deal for me. At worst, I can make up for it with Master and Sister Hua. So I told the Holy Lord I chose the second path. After that, I will fear no challenge. I will strive for what I want. After I confirmed the direction I wanted to choose, the Holy Lord asked me to come forward. Then he presented the Holy Sun's seal and the Holy Sun's token before me. When I received the two objects symbolizing the identity of the Holy Sun, the entire Taisu Holy Land erupted in thunderous cheers. His Holiness, the Holy Sun, unparalleled in the world. Finally, the Supreme Lord declared the Holy Sun ceremony complete. Please, esteemed guests and representatives, proceed to Taisu Peak to discuss important matters. Your Holiness, please wait. Elder Hua of Daoyun Peak is still unmarried. I wonder if Your Holiness could bestow a marriage upon her. Taisuzu, who was about to leave, stopped. He asked questioningly, "You wish for me to bestow a marriage upon her? Bestow her to whom?" The next second, my face started to flush slightly. Then I pointed at myself with my index finger. But that elder Hua from Daoyun Peak was merely an identity fabricated by Tai Suzy. This was equivalent to Tai Suzy being confessed to directly. Facing this situation for the first time, Tai Suzy was a little at a loss. Her two small hands were placed in front of her as she asked, "Do you like her a lot? What do you like about her?" So I enthusiastically listed all the things I admired about her, with beautiful words. For example, gentle, kind, considerate, mature, beautiful. Although Tao Suzy was very pleased and happy to hear it, she still said she needed to ask Elder Hua for her opinion. "If she agrees, I will grant your marriage. Please, please. Disciple knows that my talent is poor and my cultivation is low. Please, master, stay up all night and impart your teachings to me." Although this isn't the first time Bao Jing has faced a rebellious disciple's request, Qi Mengdai still instinctively expressed her refusal. However, in the end, she only covered her nose, to avoid making an unpleasant sound that might excite the rebellious disciple even more. It turns out that before being bestowed the title of Saint's Son of the Tai Su sacred land, I told my master that I would go find her later. So after receiving the saint's token from the Holy Lord, I hurriedly made my way to my master Chimengye's cave. My master first asked what I had talked about with the Holy Lord. Since I didn't get an answer regarding the marriage proposal, I had to tell my master that I only asked about cultivation matters. To my surprise, my master seemed a bit jealous. "If there are cultivation issues, why didn't you come to ask me instead of disturbing the Holy Lord?" "Disciple, isn't this what I came to ask, master?" As I spoke, my hand reached up to touch the long, slender jade-like leg. "Master, disciple begs you." However, master said that I was so incapable right after becoming the saint's son. "I just wanted to ask you how to improve my leg technique. How is that incapable?" Master placed both hands on his waist, saying that he knew exactly what I was thinking. "Since you know, then I'll just push master down directly." Then, leaning down close, I asked, "What do you think I'm thinking?" At this moment, master quickly changed his words, saying, "I don't want to know. Get lost." "But now, master, are you willing to let me leave? The consequence of the defense zone falling so quickly is that I can't answer." On the other side, at Chu Xiu's cave dwelling on Yinxia Peak, Chu Xiaoran and my two junior sisters, Tao Tian, are waiting for me to return. Ji Tai Mei, standing beside, said to the newly arrived Chu Xiaoran, "Woman, I see you have extraordinary potential, so I've decided to take you as my pet." Hearing this, Tao Tian smiled, "Little chick, you've become handsome, and you speak so much better now. Sister, I support you. Just take her as your pet." But Ji Tai Mei glanced at Chu Xiaoran. "Woman, tell me, do you have a crush on Chu Xiu? If you do, I can help you." Just as Ji Tai Mei was coaxing Chu Xiaoran, a figure appeared behind a distant stone pillar. But Tao Tian felt that Chu Xiaoran was going too far. How could she have such thoughts about her own senior brother? However, Chu Xiaoran thought that the senior brother wasn't just yours. In an instant, the two rivals exploded into a battle between women. But watching Ji Tai Mei kept giving instructions from the sidelines. She was suggesting everything from pulling hair, grabbing faces, to picking noses. At that moment, a fist struck Ji Tai Mei and knocked her out cold. "You weakling. Up to no good again." Hearing this, the two junior sisters immediately stopped their fight. They both asked, "Senior brother, when did you arrive?" The next moment, Chu Xiaoran put on the demeanor of a weak girl. She squeezed out a tear and said, "Senior sister Tao Tian, I'm sorry." Then, she leaned towards me, taking the blame onto herself. "It's all my fault, don't blame senior sister Tao. I just came to congratulate you on your promotion to Saint's Son." But senior sister Tao immediately scolded me. However, she really cares about you. In a dramatic display, Tao Jianqi was furious and upset. In the end, Chu Xiaoran took the blame for upsetting her. "If senior sister minds, I'll leave," and then slipped away. Watching Chu Xiaoran's impressive performance, it was quite a show. I still find it quite interesting. He stayed overnight. The master actually took the initiative to ask the rebellious disciple to stay overnight. But the rebellious disciple, after having his fill, doesn't acknowledge anyone. He gets dressed and goes to find other young women. The master proactively went to Taisu Peak to find the Saint Lord, to report that the Yaozu might attack Chu Xiu, the primordial saint body. However, Taisuzi believes that this is both a crisis and an opportunity. Eliminating the demon lord will cause the ancient star to open ahead of time. Upon hearing this, the master felt a surge of longing. If the ancient star opens early, the master would have the opportunity to achieve Saint King status. The Taoist ahead seemed to have guessed Chimendie's thoughts. She turned around and said to her, "You must seize this chance." Then she handed a box to Chimengdai. "Let the master pass this Bodhi divine flower to me." Remembering how she taught the rebellious leg techniques all night, the master felt a rush of excitement. I didn't expect to meet this rebellious disciple so soon. So after she went back, she sent me a message to call me to the cave. It's not even dark yet. Master, why are you in such a hurry to call me? Master threw a box into my hands and said it was from the Holy Lord. Then she told me to hurry up and get out, not to disturb her. Disciple is only concerned about Master. How could that be disturbing? Now that I'm here, let's try the leg technique from last night again, shall we? Rebellious disciple, get out of the way. You think you can do whatever you want. But by this time, I was already close to my master's body, greedily inhaling her scent. Then, I grabbed my master's small hand with one hand and held her slender waist with the other. It wasn't too late yet, the sky would darken soon. This time, I didn't push her down roughly, but gently laid her down. I placed my master's hand on my chest, stared into her eyes, and leaned closer. It lasted until late at night before I finally separated from my master. After entering Sage Time, I began to check the panel for the items I had acquired. Originally, my blue luck had skyrocketed by over 4,000 and turned a light purple. Becoming a holy sun can actually stack fortune. I didn't expect such an advantage. Just then, a hand landed on my shoulder. Then, the voice of my master, recovering, gently sounded. Unworthy disciple, the night outside has already deepened. Why don't you stay over for the night? How could I resist such temptation? I quickly put on my clothes, signaling that I was going back to cultivate. I thought to myself, there's no way something this good would happen, her taking the initiative to let me stay. God knows if she'll take advantage of me sleeping and strike me dead with one palm. So I waved my hand, said goodnight, and left. Behind me, Chi Mengdai ground her teeth. How could this rebellious disciple be so alert, not giving me a chance? The next day, I went to the Holy Land for the first time, to the Saint Sun Hall they had prepared for me. Although taking the Bodhi Divine Flower can help one break through to the other shore realm, a smooth breakthrough still requires a large amount of spiritual energy from the heavens and earth. Because of this, I chose to come to the Saint Sun Palace. This should be one of the places with the most abundant spiritual energy in the Taizu's sacred land. As I was walking, a few figures suddenly followed me. They took the initiative to greet me and bowed, calling me Saint Sun. When I turned around, I saw that these were the attendants of the Saint Sun Palace. The Taizu sacred land truly lives up to its reputation as a land of great fortune. Even the maids are so beautiful and charming. Then I chatted with these lovely maids for a while, teasing these girls brimming with youth. Then I went to the best place for cultivation in the Holy Sun Temple. The spiritual energy concentration here is visible to the naked eye. Cultivation speed here should increase by more than dozens of times. It seems I've come to the right place. So I leaped onto the lotus seat in the center of the lake and sat cross-legged to meditate, devouring the rare treasures of heaven and earth, the Bodhi Divine Flower, to achieve an extreme breakthrough. With the help of the system, the breakthrough was successfully completed. Consumed 100,000 breakthrough points, leaving 680,000 remaining. At that moment, a carriage passed over my head. The coachman spoke to the person in the carriage. Your Highness, the princess. This is the legendary Tai Su Holy Land. Just as I completed my breakthrough, I heard Dong Fu's words. He was very curious about the princess in the carriage. She lost it. Her first kiss, which had been kept for millennia by Lady Hua Luo, was taken by the new holy son, Old Demon Chu, and with a storage ring as bait, he pulled her onto a giant stone to complete their soul merging. Old Demon Chu had just broken through the divine bridge and reached the other shore realm. I heard a carriage passing through the air. When I looked up, I noticed that this young lady resembled Zhu Biyue. Could she be a descendant of Zhu Biyue? This young lady is actually Princess Zhu Ziyue, the seventh princess of the Great Ming Empire. She has come to visit the Supreme Taosu sacred land in the southern region. At that moment, a peach blossom fluttered gently into my palm. Could it be that Sister Hua is thinking of me? So I steered the flying boat to the Sea of Flowers. Sure enough, Sister Flower was waiting for me with her back turned. Then I called out from behind her. Sister Flower said, I came as soon as I received your flowers. Meanwhile, Hua Luofei thought to herself, he actually came. Then she congratulated me on my improved cultivation, and I complimented her on her increased beauty. Following that, I took Hua Luofei's hands. Last time I mentioned the marriage proposal to the Saint Lord. Sister, guess how the Saint Lord responded? Hua Luofei then withdrew her hand and replied, of course, he didn't agree because we're not suitable. However, I stepped forward again, holding both of her hands tightly and said, the Saint Lord said that as long as you agree, he will grant the marriage. The sensation from the tips of my fingers felt quite pleasant. It felt nice, and Hua Jia shyly asked, do you think I would agree? If my sister disagrees, I don't know when we will meet again. Hua Luofei immediately became anxious. Why do you have to go on a journey just after breaking through to the beyond? However, I calmly picked a flower and held it in my hand. I began to explain that I actually didn't want to leave the Holy Land, but shutting myself in will never make me a strong person. Hua Luofei agreed with this view, and she said that I am not someone who is swayed by romantic emotions. Then I placed the flower behind Hu Luofei's ear. Who says decisiveness and ruthlessness preclude tender feelings? Then I leaned closer to Hu Luofei, letting her feel my fervent heartbeat. The atmosphere gradually became romantic. Sister Hua's nose was getting closer and closer to mine. The next second, I couldn't help but kiss her. Sister Hua's eyes widened in disbelief. It wasn't until 2.5 minutes later that I finally let go of Sister Hua. Caught off guard, my first kiss was taken. Sister Hua raised her hand to slap me, so I quickly begged for forgiveness, telling her not to be angry, that it was uncontrollable. Sister Hua immediately softened and said I shouldn't do that next time. I hugged her and promised, next time, I'll tell you in advance. I complimented, even when you're angry, you're so gentle and charming. How can I not love you? Upon hearing this, Sister Hua said, don't treat me like a little girl. I'm not so easily fooled. Saying this, Hua Luofei took out a spatial storage ring. It was a trophy from her participation in the Tianyuan Great Wall Defense battle years ago. Traveling storage bags are inconvenient, you should use this one instead. It has a larger space, but I only raised my hand, asking Sister Hua to help me put it on. After Sister Hua helped me put the ring on, I asked, do you know what it means when a woman gives a man a ring? Sister Hua was somewhat speechless. What can a storage ring possibly represent? But I told her that across the starry sky, there is an ancient star. There, women give men rings to express their wish to marry them. Hua Luofei immediately found it very strange. There's no such custom in the Qinqiang continent. Just as I asked Sister Hua when she would agree to my marriage proposal. Sister Hua asked me why, with Qi Mengdai being so beautiful, I didn't take advantage of her. So I swore that I held my master in utmost respect, and never harbored any improper thoughts. After I'd placated Sister Hua, I placed my palm on her slender waist, but Sister Hua said that I wasn't capable right now, just as she wanted to move away from me to be safer. I grabbed her small hand. I'm not a little guy now, I'm a big guy. Then I pounced on her to show her the power of a big guy. After our relationship crossed the final step, I finally dared to ask what Hua Luofei said in the last meeting. Sister Hua pointed at the sky and said, the natural seal of the Tai Chi ancient star is about to open. This is an ancient star that only opens once every 2,000 to 3,000 years. Inside, there are countless heavenly treasures and earthly wonders. The most precious are the Tao marks and ancient relics left by the great emperor. If the great saint's fate is strong enough to defy the heavens, he will gain part of the great emperor's inheritance. With this, he can break through to the Saint King realm and become a top-tier powerhouse on the continent. I heard it's a legacy left by the great emperor. I immediately became energized. I asked Sister Hua about the exact opening time of the ancient star. It's drifting, it's drifting. Old Demon Chu is completely drifting. After taking Sister Hua's 1,000-year virginity, he's still fantasizing about binding Master Qi Mengdai tightly. He wants her to become his personal talent booster. Moreover, the 7th princess of the Ming dynasty, Zhu Ziyue, who came to pay a visit, is suspected to be the result of a karmic debt left by the old demon Chu 50 years ago. It turns out that after Sister Hua and I broke through the final step, we learned that the Taiji ancient star would open within a year, and Master will go in search of an opportunity to break through to the Saint King level. But if something happens to Master, where will I go to learn the techniques? Perhaps I should seal her cultivation and lock her in the palace. She can obediently stay at home and be an immortal, no need to take risks. The flower fairy beside me noticed my worry. She comforted me, saying that Qi Mengdai wasn't a weak woman. Among those of her level, she was one of the best. Then the flower fairy asked, "Little one, where do you plan to travel?" "I haven't thought about it yet. I'll just go wherever the wind takes me." Then I sat up and stared intently at the flower fairy, saying, "Did my older sister not show any reaction before I left?" Sure enough, Sister Hua instantly understood my intentions. She sat up and actively kissed me. Finally, she stroked my chin and warned me, "If you encounter an invincible enemy, preserving your own life is the most important thing." Early the next morning, Elder Mo came to visit with the 7th princess of the Great Ming Dynasty, Zhu Ziyu. But the closer I observe Zhu Ziyu, the more I believe she is a descendant of Zhu Baiyu. I heard that the Holy Sun is going down the mountain for training. It coincides with the enthronement of the new emperor of the Great Ming Empire. The Holy Master asked the Holy Sun to return with the 7th princess, representing the Taisu Holy Land at the ceremony. It just so happens that I don't know where to go, so why not go and see the Great Ming? Princess Zhu Ziyu quickly said that it was their great honor. At that moment, she was secretly delighted. She thought it was already good enough to have invited a lesser saint elder. Unexpectedly, His Highness the Saint's son was willing to come in person. But looking at Zhu Ziyu's smiling face before her, she recalled an incident from 45 years ago. Back then, I hadn't been besieged by the righteous path, I was only at the divine ability realm. I unexpectedly met the crown princess of the Great Ming Empire. In my past life, my charming and debonair nature strongly attracted Zhu Biyue. The last two had a romantic encounter. I had planned to find her after I finished my cultivation. Unexpectedly, her descendants have grown so tall. Just then, my master's voice rang out in my mind. Disciple, come to my palace immediately. Hearing this, I replied to my master through voice transmission. The disciple has a sore back today and won't be going. In an instant, Chi Mengye's eyebrows furrowed tightly. This is absolutely unreasonable. I was fully prepared. That damn rebellious disciple actually said they wouldn't come. Then the master went to their storage room. They took out a treasure wrapped in a box. On the other side, I was diligently cultivating in my cave. Before long, I disappeared without a trace, becoming busy before I left. At this moment, I contacted the system in my mind to retrieve the record. I checked whether I had claimed the reward for breaking through to the higher realm last time. Should I claim the half of the Je character secret now? This reward was actually one of the 9 secrets, the Je character secret. Of course, I chose to claim my reward immediately. The Je character secret is the strongest healing divine art. When cultivated to the extreme, a single drop of blood can restore one's true form. In terms of preciousness, it is in no way inferior to the Xing character secret. Unfortunately, the effect will be greatly diminished with only half of it. After finishing my training, I stretched and was about to rest. The chicken, grilling meat nearby, asked if I wanted to eat some spirit rabbit. After being refused, the chicken picked up a rabbit leg, preparing to enjoy it alone. At that moment, a voice suddenly sounded behind it. Where's the disciple? The chicken, however, was quite arrogant, pointing at Chi Mengdai and saying, Woman, the young maiden is taking an afternoon nap. No one is allowed to disturb her. However, Chi Mengdai completely ignored Ji Taimai. She bluntly said, a little chick dares to block my way. But when Master Chi Mengdai stepped over it from above, Ji Taimai witnessed a scene unsuitable for children. In the end, Master opened the door and walked into my room, leaving behind a young chick that bled to death. Even though my master walked deep into the room and stood by my bed, I was still immersed in sleep and didn't notice a thing. Seeing this, my master couldn't help but show a hint of sneaky intent. However, at that moment, I was lost in a spring dream. In the dream, there were countless female disciples in a bathhouse with me. They were very enthusiastic, waving and calling, Holy Sun, come join us. So, I performed a song, I am a little bird, in front of everyone. But just then, suddenly, a hand grabbed my ear. You disobedient disciple, your son's already born, and you're still soaking in the bath. In an instant, my beautiful spring dream turned into a nightmare. It jolted me awake from my sleep. I suddenly found my master sitting by the bed, questioning, how did you get here? I am your master. Why can't I be here? Then, master took out a box. The box contained glittering crystalline objects. This reminded me of some kind of deadly poison, making me recoil in fear. What? Are you trying to poison your husband? After my master's explanation, I learned that it was actually 7th grade ambergris. My master came to help me regulate my health. Consider this my farewell gift to you. Then, master stood up and prepared to leave. But I called out for master to stay and pulled her into my arms. At once, master became a little shy. Rebellious disciple, why do you want me to stay? Master gave me a 7th rank dragon saliva incense. It is said that this item takes tens of thousands of years to form. I then gently touched master's flushed cheek and said, since the gift you gave me is so precious, as your disciple, I must repay you well. They're here, they're here. At the moment when old demon Chu and Master Chi Mengdai were arranging flowers together, at a critical moment, Master felt that her own tribulation breakthrough was about to happen. This left old demon Chu momentarily stunned, unsure whether to continue. The day after agreeing to the sovereign's request to go to the Great Ming Empire, I came to the southern region's Qingxian city with Elder Mo. Since the group was sitting too bored in the carriage, I decided to tell them a story about a Han surname cultivator. There was a cultivator with the surname Han, who had exceptionally poor talent. He worked hard to cultivate but struggled to achieve success. By chance, he became a disciple of a woman named Nangong. That's when the story began to take a turn. One day, the two of them teamed up to slay a monster and were poisoned by a strange venom. Afterward, they were overcome with emotions and something indescribable happened between them. After the story was told, Zhu Ziyue and her maid blushed with embarrassment. But they questioned whether the relationship between master and disciple followed proper etiquette. Just as I was about to explain, someone actually spat from outside the car, hitting my face. Seeing this, Zhu Ziyue was quite puzzled. Could it be that someone outside is sprinkling water? After seeing who was outside the car, I just wiped off the water. Maybe someone splashed water in. And the one who spat into the car was actually Master Chi Mengdai. After hearing the shameless disciple's story, I couldn't help but feel restless. As the sky gradually darkened, we arrived at an inn named Qingxian Rest Inn. A graceful woman led us inside. Along the way, I asked what the relationship was between Zhu Ziyue and Zhu Biyue. I was surprised to learn that Zhu Biyue was just her aunt. I thought you were her daughter, you look so much like her. Then I asked if Xu Biyue was doing well now. The answer I got was that she had passed away a few months ago in the Taoist temple. She had been waiting for someone for decades. I heard from father that the person had died a few months ago, and also chose to pass away on the same day. Upon hearing this, all I could do was sigh in regret. At this moment, Master arrived at the inn, but my presence was gone. I, myself, had lost track of a beyond-the-boundary cultivator. Just as Master wondered what had gone wrong, below, a figure was watching her clumsy disguise. What is Master thinking? Why has he been following me? Luckily, I have a mask that covers my aura, allowing me to shake her off. I then arrived at a desolate place, far from human reach. I pushed open a door marked with a skull and walked inside. The moment I stepped in, the door closed automatically behind me. Inside, it was dark and gloomy, as if it had never seen the sun. Ghostly flames flickered across the long table. At the far end sat a woman. I was there to inquire about the whereabouts of Lu Hongyi. The woman quoted a price of 200,000 divine-grade spirit stones. The room brightened after she spoke. But 2 square meters of divine-grade spirit stones is excessive. It would take at least 200 million high-grade spirit stones to exchange for that. So I complained, your heavenly mechanism pavilion is really ripping people off. But the woman said their intelligence was absolutely true and reliable. And recently, countless people have been searching for Lu Hongyi. Then, I raised 3 fingers and offered 300 drops of Millennium Stone Milk. The stone milk I obtained from the Wild Demon's secret realm finally came in handy. The woman then stood up, took my hand, and raised the price to 400 drops. She also added, the Tianji Pavilion does not negotiate. In the end, I had no choice but to take out a bottle of Millennium Stone Milk and hand it to her. After inspecting the quality of the stone milk, the woman said it was good. She then asked, do you need any other information? I have some intelligence I'd like to sell you. Interested? Hearing this, the woman replied, you can tell us. It concerns the whereabouts of the celestial scripture of the Moonlit Emperor. But the woman doubted the veracity of the intelligence. I imagine it would be easy for your intelligence network to verify, wouldn't it? I require at least 4 types of heaven-earth treasures used for body refinement. Once they're ready, it's a trade, money for information. Instantly, the woman pressed herself against him and asked, where will the exchange take place? When you've gathered all the rare treasures from the world, come to the capital to find me. After returning to Qingxian Rest Inn, I sat next to Ji Taimei. I looked up and asked, Master, are you tired on the roof? Why don't you come inside? Hearing this, Qi Mengdai was quite shocked. When did this rebellious disciple appear? She then jumped down and asked how I had noticed her. Even from 10 miles away, I can smell the fragrance on you. After saying this, I grabbed my master's little hand and pulled her inside. You ungrateful disciple. What do you want to do now? Let go of me. Master, you followed me from the Taizu sacred land to fight at Qingxian City. Isn't it because you miss me? Stop flattering yourself. I only came to Central Continent for business and happened to pass by. I happened to be staying here and thought I'd stop by to see you. While speaking, I've already prepared to pass on everything I know to you. I trouble you, Master, to pass on the teachings and resolve my confusion. Forced by circumstance, Qi Mengdai had no choice but to welcome you along the way. But suddenly, Master, you asked me to stop and wait. So, I had to stop and ask you what was the matter. Unexpectedly, Qi Mengdai felt that a breakthrough was imminent. And a breakthrough to the great sage realm must be accompanied by a thunder tribulation. At the critical moment, Master, you are still unreliable. This double Q hasn't even ended yet. What should I do? It's tribulation time. It's tribulation time. At the crucial moment of the master-disciple duo's match, Qi Mengdai has to undergo a tribulation. I wonder if it's because she's pregnant. This mid-great saint tribulation is more intense than usual. However, before her master crossed the void to undergo the tribulation, she took out a bottle of 10,000-year-old stone milk and gave it to her master. Then, her master came to the void, facing the tribulation that had already formed into thunder dragons alone. Surviving the tribulation isn't about forcing it with physical strength. It's about eliminating the thunder tribulation set by the heavens. So, after adjusting her spiritual energy, Qi Mengdai unleashed her strongest sword technique. Ice Snow Extinction, 3 Swords of the Realm. First, she used the first move of the sword technique, 10,000 miles of ice seal. Accompanied by snowflakes in the void, Qi Mengdai rushed toward the thunder dragon with her sword. Then, she used the second move, Frozen Domain, pulling the thunder dragon in front of her into her domain. She didn't expect that even so, the thunder dragon was still quite agile. The dragon's head avoided the strike, only grazing its body. In the end, Qi Mengdai had no choice but to use her third move, Ice Sealing Extinction. She directly attacked the dragon's head within the thunderous calamity. After the strike, the thunderous calamity did not dissipate. Instead, blood began to flow from the corner of Qi Mengdai's mouth. She hadn't anticipated that the thunderous calamity would be this powerful. Fortunately, the rebellious disciple had given her a bottle of eternal stone milk. She immediately chose to take it and heal the injuries on her body. Then, she stabilized the child in her womb. Just then, the pet-shaped thunder calamity unexpectedly launched an attack. The void began to grow chaotic. As the scene slowly calmed down, only Chi Mengdai remained in the void, praying that the master doesn't encounter any trouble. Meanwhile, the thunderstorm in the void had already begun to dissipate. Only the snow and ice realm created by Chi Mengdai remained. Chi Mengdai wasn't happy just because she had survived the thunder tribulation. On the contrary, she gently touched her abdomen and said, "Thankfully, the baby is fine." Then she disappeared from the void. She returned to the inn where we were, King Swangsea Inn. We saw the master safely return from the void. "Congratulations, master, on successfully overcoming your tribulation. Quickly come inside to stabilize your cultivation." Master nodded reservedly. Then, he thanked me for the 10,000-year-old stone milk. This tribulation was fraught with peril. "Master, why are you so polite? We're practically family." Hearing this, Master, for the first time, didn't refute my affectionate words. He merely smiled slightly and softly murmured, "Disobedient disciple." But for some reason, this tribulation was unexpectedly powerful. It's more than 5 times stronger than before, which is completely unreasonable. The next morning, I ran into Princess Zhu Ziyue of Daming while yawning. Seeing my pale complexion, Zhu Ziyue asked with concern, "Your Highness, why do you look so unwell?" Hearing this, I thought to myself, has it become that obvious? I responded by saying that I had been practicing my divine skills, which drained my energy, but it was nothing to worry about. In response, Zhu Ziyue and the maids expressed their admiration for my effort. As we approached the bird-drawn carriage to set off, we discovered that Elder Mo, who had been with us, was gone. The driver said that there were signs of significant demonic activity ahead. Elder Mo went ahead to deal with it and would be waiting for us on the road. Normally, demonic creatures only dare to sabotage things secretly, they wouldn't dare to attack openly. Why would they attack such an insignificant town this time? However, I still believe Elder Mo can handle the situation properly. Let's hurry over there. What if we find some rare treasure? Not long after, the carriage arrived at a grassland. Zhu Ziyue in the carriage was enjoying the beautiful grassland scenery, but I regretted that my master wasn't by my side at this moment. Just as I was daydreaming about doing what I should with my master, I completely failed to notice the 4 sisters crouching in the grass. Seeing that I was lost in thought, the 4 sisters in the grass felt it was the perfect opportunity and jumped out. The leader, Xiao Feng, took out a hidden weapon and called it a secret device. "Chu Xiu, you weakling, only I am worthy of being the holy sun in this sacred land." After saying that, she threw the hidden weapon in her hand toward me. But the next second, a giant hand appeared outside the carriage. It blocked all the hidden weapons and sent them back. Then the giant hand pressed down on the grass sisters. Instantly, they were filled with terror. "Isn't Elder Mo not here?" At that moment, a figure appeared in front of them. "The rats of the Divine Dragon Society, are you here to kill Chu Xiu? Disciple has recently acquired 72 new skills. I humbly request Master to impart teachings and resolve my doubts tonight." Chi Mengdai, who was ambushed, was so furious that she wanted to suppress me. In the end, I struck her back fiercely, and she dared not say another word. Before this, Chi Mengdai stopped Xiao Feng from assassinating me. After failing, Xiao Feng immediately knelt down and admitted his fault. He begs Master for forgiveness. However, the Master began listing Xiao Feng's crimes against me. First, he had Renji's sword Ling Yun ruin my Yunhai. Then he sent people to hunt me down in the wilderness demon abyss. Now, you're still working with the rats from the Divine Dragon Society. I'm not someone who hasn't given you a chance, it's you who failed to grasp it. The killing intent in his words made Xiao Feng feel a sudden sense of fear. "Master, are you going to kill me for Chu Xiu? Why should Chu Xiu be allowed to become the senior brother and now even the holy son? Master, don't you know that I am the most outstanding disciple of Yinxia Peak?" Upon hearing this, Chi Mengdai questioned, "Is that position really so important?" Xiao Feng explained that having more power was the key to seeking revenge. "Why, Master, are you so kind to Chu Xiu? Even though he's a useless person, you still let him be the eldest senior brother." In response, Chi Mengdai said that it was because Chu Xiu's parents died in battle. To make up for the debt to them, she allowed Chu Xiu to be the chief disciple. Upon hearing this, Xiao Feng said that he had never lost to Chu Xiu. He was just defeated by the remnants left by Chu Xiu's ancestors. In the end, Xiao Feng finally admitted that it was his fault, that he owed Chu Xiu an apology. "Please tell Chu Xiu on my behalf, Master. The Ouyang family of the Eastern continent possesses one of the 9 secrets, the word secret." After saying this, Xiao Feng punched his chest twice. At that moment, the second direct disciple of Yinxia Peak died on the spot. That night, Master came to my room seeking comfort. The death of Xiao Feng had made her very depressed. but I pretended not to know and asked what happened. Why did my second senior brother suddenly fall? But Master was unwilling to mention the second disciple who had just died. He only relayed to me what Xiao Yifeng said before he died. Although I knew this was Xiao Yifeng's plan before his death, I still have to jump into this pit. Seeing my silence, Shi Mengdai guessed my thoughts. Are you really going to the Ouyang family to steal the secret scroll? I'm very grateful for the information Master provided, so I quickly sat beside her and kissed her to show my gratitude. Before my dear Master could react, I quickly said, since he's my second junior brother's enemy, he's my enemy too. Now that my junior brother is gone, I naturally have to avenge him. After all, we are beloved kin. But Master said I didn't speak a single truthful word. Hearing that, I mentioned that I would take Master immediately, as I had promised. When I first bullied my Master, he immediately told me to shut up. Otherwise, I would be suppressed by him right now. However, at that time, I had already touched his waistband and asked if that was suppression. My Master was quite unable to cope with this kind of verbal sparring. He told me not to talk nonsense and quickly changed the subject. The Ouyang family currently has 2 peak little saints. To this, I said I had my own methods. Then I pulled out a thick book from my bosom. It's the 72 postures of yin and yang harmony. Master, it's getting late. We should go and study hard. Although Master said, scram, don't get near me, I was still given a warm welcome inside. After a night, I learned some new knowledge from Master. This life is truly boundless joy. At this moment, Zhu Ziyue had already made preparations to depart. With one more day's journey, we would reach the Great Ming. After traveling for a whole day, we finally arrived at our destination, the Great Ming. Waiting to greet us was the eldest son of the Lord of the North, Zhou Yunfei. However, Zhu Ziyue felt that this arrangement was quite inappropriate, because he did not represent the imperial family of the Great Ming. Moreover, in Zhou Yunfei's eyes, there was only me and Elder Mo. As soon as he spoke, he invited me and Elder Mo to move to another place. Immediately, Zhu Ziyue knew he was here to cut in, so she quietly tugged at the corner of my clothes. She thought I definitely wouldn't go with Zhou Yunfei. After all, we had already become good friends on the way. But Elder Mo and I didn't hesitate at all. We immediately chose to follow Zhou Yunfei. Didn't we agree that we were all good friends? Why did you suddenly go with someone else? At that moment, someone whispered in her ear. Zhu Ziyue, don't be nervous, little girl. Every action that old Chu takes has its reason. Jitai Mei turned around with a mischievous grin and comforted Zhu Ziyue. Here it comes, here it comes. Old Chu went to see his old lover, Zhu Biyue, for the last time. He learned that she had gone to a place called Honghuang. Unexpectedly, Master Qi Mengdai had secretly followed him. So, old Demon Chu decided to give his master one-on-one guidance. It turns out that when I first entered the territory of the Great Ming Empire, I was intercepted by Zhou Yunfei, the eldest son of the king of Zhenbei. Then, she took me to meet 2 talented individuals from the southern region. One of them was Yang Chen, the only son of the sect master of the Songyun sword sect. The other was senior sister Bai Yao, the fairy of Yueqiong Palace. However, I was quite familiar with both of them, because I had practiced the soul seed technique during the time of old Demon Chu. The soul seed can be implanted into the god soul of a cultivator who has not reached the divine bridge realm. As the cultivator's cultivation level increases, the soul seed gradually grows as well. The final mark left behind ensures the practitioner can successfully seize the body. However, the 2 individuals being targeted are completely unaware. At this moment, they are plotting something with Zhou Yunfei and me. After pouring the wine, Zhou Yunfei began to discuss the main issue. Firstly, he felt that the royal family was offering too few divine yuan stones to the Taizu Holy Land. The amount of divine yuan stones given should be doubled, with a portion allocated to me. Hearing this, I immediately understood their intention. You came to me to help you rebel. I wouldn't call it a rebellion, it's for the future of the Holy Land and the Ming Dynasty. As he spoke, Zhou Yunfei took out a storage ring and pushed it over. I never turn down anything that comes to me. This deal can be discussed in detail, everyone benefits, right? A figure in black, observing from the shadows, watched it all. If Zhu Ziyue saw this scene, she'd probably spit blood. This rebellious disciple dares to brazenly and righteously solicit bribes. I want to see what this rebellious disciple is up to. Finally, the carriage went around in a circle and returned to its starting point. When we arrive in Shangjing, the remaining items will surely reach your hands. At this time, Zhou Yunfei was secretly thinking to himself, now that I have the support of the Taisu Saint's son, the change of dynasty in the Great Ming is imminent. Once we reach Shangjing, it will be inconvenient for Yang Chen and me to interact with him. So, I'll trouble Fairy Biao to take good care of the Holy Sun from now on. On the other hand, I've already boarded Zhu Ziyue's carriage. I suggested changing our route to Yun Cliff. I wanted to take a look. Only then did Zhu Ziyue ask what Zhou Yunfei and I had discussed. Nothing major, just discussing how to usurp the throne. Hearing this, Zhu Ziyue looked somewhat incredulous. Could it be that you, Holy Son, are going to help Zhou Yunfei and the others? And my answer is no. They just need a tool to serve as a platform. But Zhu Ziyue and the maid suddenly couldn't kneel. Please, Your Highness, save our great Ming. Only you can save us. I do have a way to deal with the Zhou family's cancer, but I like fair trades. What will you offer in return? Unexpectedly, Zhu Ziyue suddenly turned bright red. She whispered in reply, I promise you. Hearing this, the master hiding in the dark was a little dumbfounded. Even Ji Tai Mei let out a cackling laugh. But I gave Zhu Ziyu a flick on the forehead. What are you thinking about? Don't you want me to accompany you? I really don't know what you're thinking, girl. Even if I'm a scoundrel, I wouldn't lay a hand on my own woman or junior. What's more, her aunt died for me. On the other side, Qi Mengdai complained. How can this little girl be so reckless at such a young age? Can't she learn some restraint from me? Before long, we arrived at Yunya. However, Ziyue asked me to walk around on my own. As for the payment, you should talk to your father and come discuss it with me. With so many people around, Ziyue could only send a voice transmission to express her gratitude. However, all of this was just a matter of mutual benefit. There's a large, blue stone on the cliff. This blue stone is very smooth. It seems someone often meditates and practices there. So I wrote a special symbol on it. The next second, a familiar voice sounded. Little man, sister knew you wouldn't perish. This is Zhu Biyue's voice. Then, a figure emerged from the blue stone. After all, you fear death more than anyone and are more treacherous than anyone. Don't ask me where I've been. I only know the place I went to is called the Primordial Chaos. It's likely that we will never meet again in this life. If there's a chance, take care of the Zhu family. I owe them. Lastly, bad thing. Sister loves you. After saying this, the last image of Zhu Biyue in this world vanished. Why is it the primordial era again? What kind of place is it, really? If you go through the stone mirror, you can only stay there for 3 months. How did Zhu Biyue manage to avoid returning? You just read the divine consciousness imprint. I didn't even notice how you knew about the mark. I only sensed it after touching it. What did you think? But my master wouldn't let it go, asking me why I came here. What's with you, a woman, asking so many questions? Do you think it's time for a lesson? The master, who calls herself composed, just muttered angrily at her rebellious disciple. But just as she was about to get closer to me, she was suddenly pulled into my arms. This beautiful moment is perfect for you to teach your disciple. Under the bright daylight, the master suddenly panicked. She noticed that my hands were already getting out of control. With a flushed face, the master lightly scolded me for being shameless. At the last moment, I stopped and told her to come with me tonight. The master, full of anticipation, asked where we were going. It's coming, it's coming. Chu Xiu is currently receiving one-on-one tutoring from Qi Mengdai. But it was interrupted by Fairy Biao from the Yueqiong Palace. Although Qi Mengdai was quite displeased after being interrupted, Chu Xiu actually pulled Fairy Biao into his arms. And after satisfying Fairy Biao, he turned around and once again made his master obey. Originally, I had planned to receive guidance in broad daylight, but my shy master refused to teach as usual. So I had no choice but to take my master to the Taoist temple first. Once it gets dark, master will have no choice but to agree. I lightly touched a stone statue in the hall with my finger. In an instant, the formation within the statue was activated. Immediately afterwards, a cubic box shot out. Master was very curious as to how I knew about this object. But I told her to just watch, saying curiosity killed the cat. After putting the box away, I didn't bother explaining to Master. It's time to continue with my plan. Soon after arriving in Shangjing City, Zhu Ziyue bid me farewell. As for me and Elder Mo, we were sent to the Taisu Holy Land Embassy. The moment Ji Taimei and I entered the embassy, the eyes of the Taisu Holy Land disciples stationed there all fell upon me. Then I approached one of them, addressing her as elder sister. Please ask the kitchen to prepare some light dishes. We have guests coming tonight. And the so-called guests were none other than Zhou Yunfei, the eldest son of the great Ming's northern king. Sure enough, guests arrived. That little girl is quite clever. At that time, the northern king was in seclusion, so his son offered his regards on his behalf. To express his apologies, Zhou Yunfei gave me another 300,000 divine stones. We drank until late into the night, both of us still wanting more. Our intimacy was like that of brothers reunited after a long separation. However, my master knew I was merely acting. He asked me if I had poisoned Zhou Yunfei's wine. One moment you're acting like brothers, the next you're secretly poisoning him. You're too vicious. But I don't care. To not be ruthless towards enemies is to be cruel to oneself. After all these years of cultivation, Master, haven't you seen through this yet? Why would I need a reminder from you? I just think your methods are beneath you. A holy son using poison, aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Before Master finished lecturing me, I pulled her into my embrace. No matter if it's a black cat or a cat that can catch mice, it's a good cat. Just as I was about to make a move, my master told me to stop. It was because my master sensed someone approaching outside the house. The person approaching was none other than Bai Yao, the fairy of Yueqiong Palace. She was sent by Zhou Yunfei to get closer to me. My master was immediately displeased. A dog at night, and now a female cultivator comes looking for you. She doesn't even respect me as her master. However, I told my master to hide and called out for Fairy Bai Yao to come in. Biao Fairy brought some rose nectar to taste with me. Although I knew it was an aphrodisiac, I still let her place it on the table first. In the shadows, Qi Mengdai was observing whether my resolve as a rebellious disciple was strong enough. However, to Qi Mengdia's surprise, in this situation, I actually held Biao Fairy in my arms. What is going on with you two? Do you really think of me as heir? But in the next moment, Qi Mengdai no longer cared about being angry. Instead, she was curious about what the traitor had done. Why had the look in Biao's eyes changed to be just like the traitor's? I took out a vial and asked her to take it back. She was to find an opportunity to let Zhou Long smell the fragrance, but make sure not to be noticed. 2.5 hours later, she was to return and tell Zhou Yunfei that she had succeeded. After giving her the instructions, Biao, obedient as ever, left immediately. Then my master asked me what I did to her. It was merely a soul-controlling technique. When did you do it? The last time I drank with them. This poison is called 3 flowers converging at the top, a combination of 3 poisons. Zhou Yunyang already drank 1 portion. I had Fairy Biao take another portion back to give to her father, Zhou Long, and the last portion is in my possession. None of the 3 poisons are harmful when separated, but if they appear within a kilometer radius simultaneously, they will immediately trigger a rampage. Even if Zhou Long is a great sage, his strength will be reduced by 40%. Hearing this, Master thought I was too vicious. I was thinking about how to kill him right after we met, and even a weakened great sage is not someone I can handle. So you want me to help you? Don't even think about it. I'm not going to help you, but I didn't say I needed you to act. There's a 7th rank trapping array here. As long as there are enough spirit stones, it can be activated instantly. Then Zhou Long might still have a chance to survive. As for spirit stones, didn't Zhou Yunfei give me a lot? Good friends should help each other. While speaking, I poured the rose dew into a cup. Then, while the master sighed with emotion, I offered the master tea. Completely unaware of anything amiss, Qi Mengdai drank it down. Only when the effects suddenly surged through her did the master ask, "Disciple, what did you just give me to drink?" And I picked up the rose dew and told her it was this. Instantly, the master understood, knowing the effect of rose dew. Of course, I know, master, but I'm also afraid that I won't be able to defeat Zhou Long in a fight. So I've started making some preparations now. Please, master, help me improve my cultivation. Master, you wouldn't want me to perish at Zhou Long's hands, right? Master, please, just lie down obediently. Chu Xiu added aphrodisiac to the tea and then offered it to the master. Without realizing it, Qi Mengdai drank it. I don't know if it was the potency of the medicine, but afterward I became very weak and could only walk while leaning against the wall. Just then, there was a knock on the door outside. Who could be coming to find me at this late hour? So, I opened the door and asked what the visitor needed. The man at the front grabbed my hand and begged me to save the Zhu family. It turned out that it was Emperor Zhu Yong of the Ming dynasty, who had come with his children to seek help. Haven't seen my elder brother-in-law for decades, he's become so old. Zhu Yong, whose life hasn't been easy, said that Ziyu had already explained. As long as the Zhu family can do it, even more than 2 conditions are fine. But I'm not greedy, 2 are enough. First, I'll take 2 items from the imperial treasury. Second, after the matter is settled, all of the Jinbei king's assets will belong to me. The Ming emperor, Zhu Yong, had no objections to this. Then I let them go back. Zhu Ziyu and her elder brother asked me what they could do for me. My answer was for them to continue as usual, leave the rest to me. Early the next morning, Qi Mengdai, already awake, was leisurely eating cherries. But master constantly following me is a bit of a hindrance. So I asked, didn't you say you had important matters to attend to? However, master didn't fall for it. This capital city isn't your territory. I can stay wherever I want, who are you to stop me? If you keep acting like a rascal, master, your image as the cold immortal will be ruined. Qi Mengdai couldn't care less, eating cherries, too lazy to pay attention to me. I hope Flower Sister will never turn out like this. After a mental eye roll, I pushed my master onto the lounge chair. I warned her not to follow me when I go out, or else you know what. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as you agreeing. You can't hide your breath. The proud master, suppressed by a traitor, arrogantly says that she doesn't care about the package. So, I came alone to District 79 of the upper capital city. I followed a woman to meet another woman. The woman who had been waiting here greeted me upon my arrival. She took out a bundle, indicating that everything I needed, including rare treasures, was inside. I pulled out a card and inserted it into a slot where it could be held. This contains information about the whereabouts of the Moonlight Emperor's scripture. On the other side, the secret chamber beneath the northern border king's manor. An old man was hung upside down in a secret room. Not far away, a demon with 9 tails stood. Zhou Long has good news for you. Just last night, someone poisoned me. Unfortunately, they failed. Upon hearing this, Zhou Long revealed his true identity as the thousand-faced true monarch, and asked what he really wanted to do. The answer I got is that you want to become the emperor of the Ming dynasty, and your son dreams of becoming the crown prince. You tell me, should I fulfill his wish? As long as I become the emperor of the Ming dynasty, I can use Ming's large population for a blood sacrifice to destroy the demon banner. After awakening the spirit of this weapon, think about it, I, Zhou Long, fought for the Ming dynasty my whole life. In the end, I was replaced by a demon and became a rebel. But the Taizu Holy Land won't let you succeed. In the next moment, the thousand-faced true monarch transforms into Zhou Long. He says he will go discuss seizing the throne with the Taizu Holy Son. I will take care of your wife and child, do not worry. Yun Fei is a good son, and the princess is truly virtuous. Amid the constant curses of Prince Zhou Long from the northern town, the thousand-faced true monarch leaves the basement and arrives at Snowfall Lake Island. At this moment, I am discussing the senior expert Qi Wuhan with Zhou Yunfei. In order to deal with the demon barbarians, he created the Guiyuan refining method. And I've been worrying about where to refine that item. I didn't expect this master of weapon refinement to come to the southern region. As for Fairy Bai Yao's attempt to poison Zhou Long, it actually failed. Fortunately, although he was vigilant, he didn't notice Bai Yao. Now that the North King has finally arrived at the scene, I finally have the chance to meet him in person. After some polite exchanges, I noticed there was a demonic aura on him, so he was switched with a monster. No wonder the poison failed. At this time, the monster finally got down to business. He asked if my seizing the throne had been discovered by outsiders. So I decided to play along with this monster for a while. I'd find another chance to poison him. But just then, Zhou Yunfei, after taking a sip of wine, suddenly collapsed. Although he covered his mouth and nose, he still kept spitting out blood. It wasn't long before she looked like she had died from poisoning. Here she comes. Chu Xiuan came up with a brilliant way to teach his master a lesson. Since his master wouldn't allow him to act recklessly under the guise of heaven's will, then all he had to do was blindfold her, and it would be like nightfall. In the end, his master would no longer be able to refuse the rebellious disciple. Before this, I had carefully planned everything. Right in front of Zhou Yunfei's father, I poisoned him. If this poison isn't expelled in time, Zhou Yunfei will die within 30 breaths. So Zhou Long quickly used his true energy to try and cure his son. But at that moment, a stream of highly toxic green smoke wafted out of Zhou Yunfei's body. Zhou Long, anxious to save his son, was thus poisoned. Next, it's time for that chess piece to make its move. Nearby, the long-haired woman sharply demanded to know who had administered the poison. How dare you poison the king of the northern border and his son in broad daylight? The next moment, Princess Biao appeared at the window, holding a sharp sword. Then, she actually channeled her true energy and thrust the sword straight at Zhou Long and his son. However, how could Zhou Long, a grand sage, be so easily pierced? He casually subdued Princess Biao, and concluded that she was the killer. But before Zhou Long could question Princess Biao about her motives, but I secretly controlled Biao and made her self-destruct. Then, Biao, who suddenly appeared without saying anything, exploded on the spot. The explosion left Zhou Long completely stunned. He thought to himself, I haven't done anything yet, how could you self-destruct? However, this wasn't the time to dwell on that. A figure from the Great Sage Realm shattered the void and appeared at the scene. It was none other than the previous palace master of Yuqiong Palace, Qiongyu. She immediately demanded to know why the Northern King wanted to kill her disciple's grandchild. In response, Zhou Long explained that Xi had never made a move. It was she herself who suddenly self-destructed. However, Yuqiong still blamed him for the death of her precious disciple. She decided to no longer support Zhou Long in his rebellion to become emperor. Originally, the two had conspired to seize the Great Ming throne, but now, due to the death of a junior, they were locked in a life-or-death battle. Seeing this, a long-haired woman rushed over to ask for my help. Your Highness, please persuade them to stop fighting. Fortunately, at that moment, my master sent a voice transmission. A great sage is fighting in the capital. Don't join in the commotion. Return quickly. So, I turned around and apologized to the few people behind me. Everyone, I have urgent matters at home, so I must take my leave. On the other side, Qi Mengdai, sitting with her legs crossed, sighed, really troublesome. This ungrateful disciple has so much energy. Truly needs a good lesson. I returned to the Taisu embassy shortly after. I happened to run into the embassy director. Protecting Shangjing City is her responsibility. She was going to mediate the conflict. And because I shouldn't interfere in others' karma, I didn't stop her. Master, who was playing the qin, started scolding me when I returned. You disobedient disciple, where have you been gallivanting? Such a big thing happened in Shanjing City, and you didn't even come back. I just saw the Prince of the North. Master was looking for me, so I came back. Upon hearing this, the master asked them why they started fighting. But I held my master's waist and said that none of this matters. The key point is that it seems the King of the North has been swapped out by a demon. And this demon has a deep cultivation and is hard to deal with. The water in the capital city runs deep. Maybe we should flee. What? You promised the Zhu family that if danger arose, you'd run away. What would you, a mere woman, understand? If you don't know, just stay quiet. Hearing this, Qi Mengdai became furious. You rebellious disciple, how dare you speak like that to me? You're asking for a beating. However, I wasn't scared. Instead, I began to gather my spiritual energy. Don't forget, I can seal your cultivation at any time. Master, recently, you've been quite arrogant. Have you forgotten how I suppressed you? It was only at this moment that Qi Mengdai panicked. No. No, that's not possible. But when have we ever separated, Master? Besides, if you just close your eyes, doesn't that make it night already? As I spoke, I carefully put the eye mask on my master. At this moment, the arrogant master refused to give in and kept shouting, if you are a man, then undo my seal. My answer was an absolute no. In the end, the master, whose cultivation had been sealed, could only be desecrated by the rebellious disciple. 2.5 hours later, I finally left the room. Just in time, Zhu Ziyue came to find me, holding something in her hands. It was the information I had asked her to look into regarding Zhou Long. But when Zhu Ziyue looked at me, she actually blushed. It turned out that I had accidentally left a lipstick mark on my face. So I quickly wiped off the mark left by my master. I explained that it wasn't a lipstick mark, but a scratch from a cat. Just then, a voice came from outside. Something's wrong. Your Highness, the Holy Sun, my master. Master's soul and life tablet has shattered. The embassy official I encountered on my return is dead. Meanwhile, in the void above the capital, Zhou Long questioned the cloaked figure about killing the embassy official. The cloaked figure explained that she saw him using Yaozu magic. Why kill her? Zhou Long feared attracting the Taisu Holy Land and ruining the plan. The cloaked figure showed no concern. Before acting, he sealed off the capital's space. No messages can be sent out within 12 hours. No one in the capital can stop them now. As for the immature Taisu Holy Sun, he can be easily crushed. Stop wasting time. Go to the palace first. Destroy the core of the star array. I'll prepare the blood sacrifice array. It's exposed. Qi Mengdai's true combat power has finally been revealed. The benefits of dual cultivation with the heavenly fragrance body were discovered by others. As a result, they also wanted to gain progress through Qi Mengdai. However, even when faced with two great saint-level powerhouses, she simply sneered after her strength was exposed. It turns out that after watching them massacre the embassy director, Qi Mengdai had already deduced that the person in the black robe was at the mid-stage of the Dog Saint realm. Additionally, the fake King of the North had brought two great saints to the capital. Furthermore, even though I tried to send messages to the sacred land, none could get through. So I asked my master if we should just flee. As long as we take the Zhu family with us, it wouldn't be betrayal. But if we leave, what will happen to the billions of mortals in the capital? You can leave, but I cannot. Protecting this land's peace is the sacred duty of the Holy Land's cultivators. I never expected my master to have such a heart to protect mortals. Then, I tightened her hand, showing my understanding. In that case, you must go to the palace immediately. No matter what the other party wants to do, the priority is to destroy the eye of the 99-star constellation array. As for me, I certainly won't act like a saint. I'll just hide in the embassy and wait for Master to return safely. Hearing this, Master thought that I, this rebellious disciple, still had a bit of conscience, and told me to stay put and not run around. After giving instructions, Master went out to guard. Not long after, a loud explosion sounded above the palace. The thousand-faced true monarch, who had rushed over upon hearing the news, revealed his true form. I didn't expect you, Qi Mengdai, to be in the capital city. This is truly surprising. At this moment, Qi Mengdai also showed a look of realization. So it was you, thousand-faced true monarch, pretending to be the Prince of the North. The confident thousand-faced true monarch admitted it. Yes, it's me. So what? However, Qi Mengdai didn't want to waste any more time talking to him. She directly used her powerful divine ability, Ice and Snow Extinction, 3 swords of the realm. However, the thousand-faced true lord was not easily overwhelmed. The sword shattered Qi Mengdai's divine ability, but this only made Qi Mengdai even angrier. Taking advantage of the lingering ice and snow, she attacked again. The brutal aura she emitted immediately frightened the thousand-faced true lord. He quickly begged He-hun to stop watching the fight and come help him. Faced with his companion's plea for help, He-hun stopped watching. He used his supernatural powers to block Chimengye's attack. "You can't even beat a woman, Chinmyeon, you're such a disgrace." Chinmyeon retorted. This woman suddenly got much stronger. Chimengye watched the two bickering without any pressure. Even now, a slight smile played on her lips. However, He-hun and Chinmyeon Jinjuan didn't think so. "Let's attack together, 2 against 1. Even if she's strong, she'll still fall." But just at that moment, the capital below seemed to have some kind of seal broken open, and the thousand-faced true monarch immediately realized her own barrier had been broken. So she decided to deal with Zhou Long first to prevent them from teaming up. However, Chimengye had no intention of letting the culprit off, but He-hun wouldn't allow Chimengye to interfere with her teammates. "Don't be in such a hurry to leave, we haven't finished yet." At this point, Chimengye also guessed who was causing trouble in the capital. Then transmitted a voice message to me, questioning, "You're deceiving your disciple again, and you're deceiving me as well. Weren't you supposed to be hiding in the embassy? Chinmyeon Jinjuan is looking for you guys. You must be careful, if you can't win, run." At this moment, I was rescuing Zhou Long from the secret chamber. After receiving the voice message, I replied, "Master, don't worry." Meanwhile, Chimengye was being blocked by He-hun. He has also heard about the benefits of dual cultivation with Chimengye's heavenly fragrance body. At this point, you should stop resisting and obediently submit to me. First, take a good look at what is behind me. Behind him, there was a flag that looked incredibly sinister. As the flag drifted in the air, countless mortals in the capital perished because of it. Chimengye recognized it as the extinction flag. They have already activated the blood sacrifice formation. Seeing the tragic situation of the mortals, Chimengye no longer cared about her rebellious disciple. At this moment, her goal had shifted to stopping the blood sacrifice of the mortals. Just then, a figure appeared behind her. "Yinxia Peak Master, I'm here to help you deal with He-hun." Seeing that it was King of the North, Chimengye quickly asked, "Chu Xiu, are you alright?" His Highness the Saint's son said he would hold off the thousand-faced true monarch. "Let's deal with He-hun quickly first." The moment the King of the North appeared, He-hun was greatly surprised. "That idiot, Qian Mian, actually didn't kill you." But neither the King of the North nor Chimengye are responding to He-hun anymore. They plan to defeat He-hun and Qian Mian today. Jealous. Chu Xiu actually got intimate with Sister Hua right in front of the master, and he even abandoned Chimengye to go off into their own little world. On the surface, Chimengye didn't seem too upset, but in reality, she was about to be driven mad by this pair of dogs. Originally, after Zhou Long was rescued, he went to find Chimengye. Together, they launched a siege against Black Soul. First, Chimengye used her innate ice and snow abilities, successfully beating Black Soul until it was trapped and helpless on the spot. Then Zhou Long wielded his spear, delivering the final blow and completely killing Black Soul. After perfectly resolving Black Soul, Chimengye, who had been worried about her wayward disciple, finally had time. He used his divine powers to observe Chu Xiu's current situation. This rebellious disciple is still only at the other shore realm. I wonder if he can withstand the great sage's attack. However, what happened at the Northern King's residence was unexpected. Not only was the rebellious disciple not in danger, he was actually chasing after Chinmyeon. In order to avoid being caught by that freak Chu Xiu on the spot, Chinmyeon Jinjuan even chose to jump directly from the 2.5th floor. This comical scene drew the attention of many onlookers. He's at the great sage level, how could he be this badly hurt? Could it be that he provoked a tigress and got beaten up like this? But as my overlord sword, Azure Dragon, slowly descended from the sky, the onlookers finally shifted their attention to me. This handsome guy must be His Highness, the Holy Son of Tai Su Holy Land. Could it be His Highness who beat the thousand-faced true monarch like this? Chimengye, who had been observing everything, also felt relieved, as expected of him, to actually force a great sage to this point. But I don't just want to force Chinmyeon into a certain state. I want to send this guy straight to hell. However, just as the Overlord Sword Azure Dragon was about to strike Chinmyeon, the Annihilation Banner suddenly appeared before him, blocking the attack. I didn't expect it to possess the aura of an ancient emperor. That oppressive aura caused the onlookers to bow down. But even if a demon emperor personally descends, what then? I don't want to kneel, and no one in this world can force me to kneel. But the thousand faces, empowered by the banner of destruction, started shouting, "Even if your methods are beyond heaven, you can't kill me." The next moment, a voice came from midair. "Then let me, the true one, try and see if I can kill you." The person who spoke was Tai Su Zi, the saint's son of the Tai Su sacred land. She arrived the moment the capital's restrictions disappeared. Faced with a strong opponent several realms higher, Chinmyeon immediately, "Taisuzi, you can't bully the weak." But just at that moment, the main person arrived. Taisuzi then reasoned with the Golden Ape. Knowing he was in the wrong, the golden ape could only let Taisuzi name his price. How can we let this white fox go? Hearing this, I immediately replied that I wanted his storage ring, and a Luopa golden lotus. Having defeated the Qianmian Jinjuan, I won't do the work myself. Taisuzi also reminded him not to forget the 3 rare celestial treasures he owed. To this, the golden ape replied that he would send them all in 3 days. Then Taisuzi sealed the demonic artifact, the exterminating banner, for 300 years. This allowed the golden ape to leave with Zifu. Finally, the golden ape only left with a remark, "You're ruthless." He returned to the demon realm, grabbing Zifu like a mouse. Afterwards, inside a tavern in Shangjing City, the diners were discussing the major event that had just happened in the capital. This Chu Xiu is probably going to be the next Taisuzi. Little did they know, I was sitting in the corner behind the screen, drinking tea and enjoying their praise. Meanwhile, in the back hall of the Taisu embassy, Taisuzi, disguised as Hua Luofei, was in a room with Qi Mengdai. "Didn't you say you were going out to relax? Why are you here protecting your disciple?" To this, the master quickly denied it, saying she was just passing by. Then, Hua Luofei asked her, "Your disciple, Chu Xiu, has gone." She got no answer, wondering if she should call him back. At that moment, I pushed open the door and walked in. To my surprise, Hua Luofei stood up enthusiastically to greet me. I also pretended not to know that she was the Holy Lord, Taisuzi. I took her hand and invited her to have tea. Hua Luofei didn't refuse, only saying, "Your master is watching." This stunned Qi Mengdai, who was standing nearby. When did the two of them get to know each other? Then I asked my master if he wanted to go for tea together. Seeing this, master turned his head and replied, "I'm too tired today. I won't go." So I took Hua Luofei's hand and walked outside. "Okay, then you should sing well." But after we left, master changed his demeanor. "You rebellious disciple, you dared to attack the Holy Lord. You, Hua Luofei, didn't even spare my disciple. As the saying goes, guard against fire, theft, and your best friend." Master, baby daddy, was stolen away by his best friend. They actually abandoned Qi Mengdai to enjoy their own world. That rebellious disciple not only hugged and cuddled with his best friend, Hua Luofei, but also bought her flowers and said sweet nothings he'd never said to me. Seeing everything with her own eyes, Qi Mengdai was so angry that she turned around and tried to leave. However, from the beginning, Sister Hua and I had noticed Master's presence. For this reason, Sister Hua even rejected the matching hairpin. She felt embarrassed, like an old cow eating tender grass, especially with her best friend seeing it. So, I comforted her, saying we hadn't done anything immoral. But Master really followed us all the way. It seems he wants to be part of the play. But to Master, it seems the rebellious disciple doesn't know Hua Luofei's true identity. If he knew Luofei was the sacred lord, he wouldn't dare to act so familiarly. Although Kaimengdi was comforting herself verbally, she still felt very uncomfortable seeing her rebellious disciple and Luofei together. Could it be that I'm jealous of them? Impossible. How could I be jealous of my rebellious disciple? Absolutely impossible. I'm just concerned about Luofei. I can bear the suffering from the traitor on my own, it's enough. On the other side, I ran into a little girl selling flowers with Sister Hua. So I bought a bouquet of flowers from the little girl. I pinned the flowers in Sister Hua's hair and praised her for being so beautiful. This is what you call, the person is more beautiful than the flowers. In the shadows, Qi Mengdai felt disgusted and nauseated upon hearing this. Why didn't this traitor ever mention this to me before? It seems like her talent hasn't been improved, so she couldn't understand this principle. The transmission told Qi Mengdai not to misunderstand that we are just calling each other brother and sister. You should go back now. As long as I'm here, no one can hurt him. But Master has a very dismissive attitude towards this sibling explanation. Not only did you hold hands, but you even went shopping together upstairs. If I had known, I would have found a chance to slap that rebellious disciple to death. The above were all the thoughts in Qi Mengdie's mind. Not receiving the transmission, Hua Luofei asked why there was no response. So Qi Mengdai replied, "It's okay, we're best friends. Of course I believe you. Have fun, I'm going home." Although she said that, Master didn't have any intention of leaving. If she tells me to leave, I'll leave. Do I not have any face? I want to see how this pair of siblings plans to play. Under Master's watchful gaze, I poured a cup of tea and invited Sister Hua to have some. Then I sat down and hugged Sister Hua. It must have been tough for you, sister, to come all the way to the capital. Let's relax and take it easy today. As I said this, I moved closer and closer to Sister Hua. Damn it, where is this unruly disciple's hand going? I could also sense that restless state of mind. Thinking that Master had already left, I didn't know what to make of it. Just then, the auction house downstairs began to beat drums and gongs. The most valuable auction in recent decades has begun. Then, the auction house brought out a memory orb, to show everyone the treasures about to be auctioned. The first item is a fist-sized meteorite mother. Its value is no less than 300,000 divine stones. The second treasure displayed felt quite familiar to me. The notch on this bronze tray fits perfectly with the bronze fragment imbued with the aura of a primordial sword embryo. I must get my hands on this bronze tray. Seeing my determined expression, Sister Hua asked me which item at the auction caught my eye, but I didn't specify which treasure intrigued me. I simply lowered my head and kissed her jade hand. Sister Hua, you truly are my lucky star. On the other side of the wall, Shi Mengdai immediately lost her composure. You shameless dogs, you actually kissed each other. Are you free tomorrow, sis? If you're free, we can go to the auction together. In response to my request, Sister Hua immediately agreed.